We got people yelling at me.
Thank you.
I'd like to call to order this special Board of Finance meeting for the budgets. Let's open with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Marcia, this is always your show. Who's up first? I can see him at the table already.
I know, but let's switch it up and have fun.
What we want to do, fellas, is starting from here on in, just so the public knows, can you just introduce yourselves and your position?
Sure.
Because some of the public asked me who's at the table and who was presenting. So if you don't mind, please, we know you, but if you don't mind,
I'm Steve Dunn.
yeah, we don't need you. We know who you are. I got your number.
You're new in town.
You look somewhat
Unless
familiar.
later I said the left hand of God.
And people do say that.
Yeah, why don't you guys introduce?
Yeah, I'm Ralph Tedesco, the Director of Public Works.
I'm Dino Angaro, building maintainer, subbing for Sheldon Kahn, facilities manager.
Michael Hicks, superintendent of roads.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, Marcia. you
All
wanna
right.
Lead us right in.
So if we look at their operating budget for the highway department, the biggest increase is the non-union wages. Last year, we didn't know the amount, we put in 0, so we have 2 years' worth of increases here. Yes, in the union section, sorry, I was thinking, oh, that's right up, in the union, the second row. So that's why it's a little higher than what we might have normally expected. Other than that, we're going straight through, that union negotiation is done. The other expenses have increased 2.43%. The biggest one is salt and sand. That is the estimate as of that time. Right now, salt and sand, if you can get it, is much higher than that. But the general prices are going up for salt and sand, and this year, at this time, it's especially high. We do have a risk out there because we can't get the salt and sand.
Well, actually, it's coming in now, so.
Oh, it's starting to come in.
Yeah, because-
Sure, as soon as
because-
spring
yeah,
shows
right.
up.
But it's good that we'll start next year with a full
Okay.
load.
So we had a contract price at 85,
Yeah.
and our contractor said they didn't have it. That they contracted to give it to us. So we had to go buy some at
Yeah,
125?
we bought some at a higher rate, but now that the emergency's over, all of a sudden they have a full
all of a
load and we're
sudden.
getting it back at a contract price. So we're gonna get our salt barn loaded as we usually do for the start of next season. But that drove our costs up a little bit this year. When it's all said and done, we'll probably be about $10,000 over on the salt for this year, which I think was pretty good considering what we've
What a
been
year
through.
we've had.
Yeah, you know, we planned this for the average year, and one year about 11 years ago, it was 572,000.
Yeah. But I mean, considering, this was,
So we're usually pretty good, and there's usually some left, but
since I've been here, this is probably the second worst winter we've had.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
and it is a
It was bad.
Yeah.
So I think we did pretty good.
Is it
Well,
over?
thank you.
I hope so. They're talking about a St. Patrick's Day storm, so,
Now
But-
it's all rain now.
oh, it's all rain, all right, good.
Thank God.
So, can we talk about one thing? Ralph just told me a little bit earlier, the inspector came from Aquarian for the state,
Yes.
and we need a backflow,
They need to reroute the backflow preventer.
reroute the backflow.
It-
We just found that out.
Yeah, it's a $5,000 expense, so, I was gonna ask for that in next year's budget. I think we could wait unless we had the funds this year. to
Will they
do it.
let us, well, I'd like to, if we're gonna put it in, I wanna put it in the budget, because it's gonna be an expense.
Yeah, right, yeah, so it makes sense. I think we could push the can down the road until July probably.
All right. Do you want to talk about overtime?
I was going to ask that.
We're gonna have overtime. We had significant storms and continuous, and we also had days where, it's icing, light rain to ice. Our guys are out there. They're still salting, they're still doing the work, right?
Next year, the change,
Oh, next year, we have, we talked to our labor attorney, and in case of Parks and Rec, the supervisor of the crews goes out there, he's working, he's shoveling, he's plowing, he gets overtime. Mike Hicks was not getting overtime. We have to treat staff in similar positions in similar ways. So Mike will get paid when he has to go out and do that in overtime. So that's gonna push the overtime up a little bit, especially for a winter like this. Mike is in there an hour and a half before the crews come in. He's there after the crews are there. He's setting everything up. So we thought that was fair and reasonable to do that. And so that's what we implemented. And we don't want a lawsuit from anybody telling us you're not being treated fairly. I know that would never happen. But it is a right and fair thing to do.
He punches a clock and Ralph approves the time.
Is he salaried or is he hourly?
Mike is salary?
So we're gonna pay a salaried person overtime?
Yes.
I've never heard of that. Our lawyer says that's the right
Yeah, we
labor law way to do this.
yeah, we went through it with our labor attorney. We're allowed to do this?
We got time and a dime, even though I'm salary, I got time and a dime. Not time and a half,
Right,
time and a
well,
dime.
it's still something more. Okay,
Yeah.
It
I
depends
just
on
never heard.
if the salary is based on excellence.
Yeah, I know, that's why it's coined time and a dime.
Yeah.
Right, so I got 1.1.
okay,
Yep.
that's fine.
All right, there was a number of small things that just, that increased on the equipment maintenance and repair, nothing that was large. And then uniforms that the new contract requires us to pay, I think it's more for the
Yeah.
shoes.
Yeah, in general. yeah.
And we wanted steel-toed shoes.
And just small adjustments after that. Any questions for them on the highway budget?
It went up 100,000 over last year, the year before was 200, so
And it's primarily the salaries with the new union contract,
We had zero
and
one.
2 years
We
worth.
had last year,
Yeah.
so it's 2 years.
To catch up.
All right. The next one is facilities. This is Dino's first meeting, let's ask him a lot of questions.
Yeah, I told him I'm gonna put him on the hot seat.
Are you ready?
Let's go.
We're here for you, Dino.
This, the union wages here is not the highway union, it's a CSEA union, so they're subject to change when that contract is done on this union. But right now, they're in at 2.5%. The other expenses are just, again, small adjustments that are expected to, on the contracts that we have outstanding. Nothing new in there. Any questions for Dino on the facilities?
You have to ask something, right?
He would like that.
Oh, you changed the color of this room?
Dino has really stepped up for us
Yeah.
because our head of facilities is gonna be out for a while,
Yeah.
for a medical condition, and Dino's really stepped up for us. Of course, he tried to
Thank
cook me in my office.
I did, yeah.
He's
I
working
gave
so
you
well.
$40 for that too. Why didn't you make it happen?
It was the best $40 you ever spent,
Oh,
wasn't
yeah,
it?
right in my pocket.
So the department-specific outside services, do you wanna talk about that, It went up
He might not know
4,700?
about that.
Yeah, I don't know exactly.
I could switch over to that
You
page.
go to that line,
Alright, I
the
was-
line item on there.
Yeah, specifics.
Yeah, he probably doesn't have the specifics. on that.
Yeah.
I think there were contractual changes on that one. Usually the increases are due to like changes in certain contracts, but if you can go to that specific sheet showing the line items, it probably shows the increases. I have them in red, the increases that took place over last year.
Can you speak up a little bit, because we're recording?
Sure, yeah. I try to highlight in red the changes from the previous year, so that should probably answer your questions. There were several things that changed from last year with adjustment in prices, now called the treatment for the water service. The
Yes,
the town hall heat pumps, the costs are going up.
That's so nice,
Yeah.
thank you.
It is easy to follow.
Super
It
easy,
is.
we can see
Right, you can
what
look
it
for the
was,
red and read
you
the-
see-
read the
you see-
description.
Yes.
So yeah, those are the changes. It's really contractual issues, and the bigger one is probably the town hall heat pumps. Those keep going up. They were put into our operating budget about 5 years ago, and they remain there but the cost of each unit is up to about $6,500 each, and those are all these heat pumps you see in every room.
Under all the
It
windows.
is about 52 or 54 of those throughout the building, yeah. And it's inevitable, especially this year with the cold weather, put a lot of stress on them. We had to replace like 4 of them this year, so.
Everything looks good.
And then, do you want to talk about the recycling?
Sure.
We took the tipping fees out. We haven't paid those yet, but that is a risk.
Yeah.
Or is this the gray?
Yeah, the Grays Bridge
Grays Bridge.
Earth Products used to take our mulch for free, and they're no longer in the business of doing that, so we're trying to find another location where we'll do the same. And the good things for this year is that the quantities are down. We haven't had any big windstorms, and the use of our site has been down, so we reduced that budget to kind of match the trend. And we'll see. You just never know what's gonna come in, but for now, I'm good with that. And if we get any big windstorms or something like that, then those costs may rise, but for
But
now,
this is exactly what we're looking for.
yeah.
When we know there's a lull, bring it down. If you have a need, we'll bring it back up. If the trend needs, we'll
And
bring
you'll
it
fund-
back
we'll
up.
fund it.
But that's exactly what we've been asking of people to do. You know, you have a little lull, you know.
Yeah, so I think we'll be all right.
All right. And then there's one next priority form for an additional highway driver. Let me pull that up, the actual form itself. If you want to speak to that.
Yeah, basically the explanation's there, but yeah, our town has grown since I've been here. I mean, I've been here 17 years as of next week, so, yeah, over 17 years, we haven't really added anybody to our workforce. And the town has grown, we have more miles of road. It seems like the weather trends are changing, storms, every year there's a theme. Last year was rain, this year was snow, the year before that was wind. But it seems like we're getting hit with different emergencies on a fairly regular basis now. And I think it's just time. MS4 requirements are going up, street sweeping requirements, catch basin cleaning, repairing of culverts and things like that. So yeah, our workload has increased over the 17-year period I've been here, and I think it's time. I think it's time we.
When is the last time you added a body?
Not since I've been here. 17, you haven't added anybody in 17 years, and it probably goes back before that, so it's about 20 years, I think.
And will this help on overtime any? Or
You know
no?
what, Marcia asked the same thing, but unfortunately overtime is generated by snow. When the snow starts falling, we come in, and when the snow stops falling, we leave. So it's not like we finish earlier
No,
because.
I just had to ask.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
know.
that's the reality.
We can't
Is there any
predict and change that.
attrition that's in the future? Do you see any changes as far as having so many people here for so long?
Yeah, we've
You know,
had a
the
couple
the trends have changed. A matter of fact, Don Burr, shout out to Don if he's watching, has been here for 40 years. He's retiring this year. But it just seems.
No, I told him no.
So did
I told him no, but it
Yeah.
didn't work. But no, so yeah, I mean, he's going to be a big loss to us. But
He's our mechanic.
he might be the longest standing employee since I've been here that's retired. So 40 years. But it seems like the younger generation is not. I don't know if loyal is the best word, but they seem to like move on a little bit quicker than some of the guys who have been here in the past. I think that's just the general trend. So. We plan on keeping our guys. I hope they stay.
Yeah.
But,
So
you know,
you're gonna lose a full-timer this year?
we're
Yeah.
going to lose a mechanic this year. We have to replace the
Our top
mechanic.
mechanic.
So we're going to have to replace
Let's,
the.
to your point, that he's saying that we haven't changed in 17 years, we haven't changed the staffing, but the people within it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
think we've seen a higher turnover,
Exactly. Yeah.
except for Don Burr and his assistant. This year we lost somebody left for like $1.50 an hour at another town.
Well, yeah. I mean.
I mean, I think we have better benefits.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to house and feed your family and your kids and everything, $1, $2, $3 an hour makes a difference. And you make the choice, okay, do I want the really good pension plan, or you know, it's a really hard decision to make.
So right now, though, Don Burr's position is in the budget, it just is a replacement. This is in
It is.
addition to the budget.
Right.
Correct, yeah, yeah.
So this isn't a replacement, this is,
This would-
you're gonna replace him, and that's already in the budget. This is an additional.
Yeah.
to
This
that.
would be an additional.
Different role too, right?
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
different.
I'm just trying to-
Versus a mechanic.
And what is the cost of this, do we estimate?
100, about 125
$60 salary?
with
That's
that.
131.
With benefits, right?
And that's
And,
not in the budget.
probably about
And
100.
Correct.
would, I don't know,
It's just
I'm gonna still
125
ask
on
you,
the next
would
priority.
a part-time, no, right?
Full-time
is
it's,
ideal.
it's hard to get a reliable part-time person because they want a full-time job.
Right.
You need a CDL for
No,
this job
I
too,
can't
probably?
keep
Yeah.
track
Yeah.
of people, I can't from
Yeah.
Yeah, and you need the CDL.
Yeah, no, but I get it.
Now, for the mechanics position,
Yes.
Don's been there for 4 years, do you have somebody that's gonna slide into his spot?
Well, I can't give that person the job. Now he's gonna have to apply like everybody else.
Got it.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a person that.
We do have an
probably
assistant
going to
mechanic,
apply, yeah.
Don's
So-
assistant.
Is there gonna
We've been
be
ready for
a little bit of a savings, cause I'm assuming you have a 4-year
Same
experience,
salary.
same salary?
Same salary.
Yeah, it's a union contract.
Ah,
It's a
okay,
union-
sorry.
it's a union job.
I don't have union
I was
mechanics,
gonna
so-
ask.
sorry.
So Steve, what was the Board of Selectmen position on this?
We thought that this was something that was important, and after Ralph explained it to us and I discussed it with him, it is something I think we're going to need to do. But the criticality, giving all the other demands, we didn't put it in.
Okay.
Not that it's not needed, but there are a lot of things we would really, really want,
Yeah.
but we can't get them all.
Right. Okay.
But I would say
Spend
next
some
year,
time just on these.
Mm-hmm, we
because,
do.
you know, these guys are getting, with MS4, the amount of data you have to collect, the guys have to go out and clean all these, you know, the vacuum truck. There's more, we're getting unfunded mandates, and they don't seem like much when the state says, oh, you need to do this at least twice a year. Well, guess what? That's bodies, that's people out there that they're not paying us to do, but they're now requiring us to do. And this is happening even in public works, some of the things they need to do.
Yeah, the reporting to the state, it takes a lot of time sometimes, and, you know, you try to do as much as you can, then all of a sudden you get a letter from the Connecticut DEP saying you forgot to do something, and then you scramble to get it done, so. You never know when those letters are gonna come.
Yeah, and on that, we may be coming back to you next year, because Ralph, I'll give you an example. We have a former senior accountant here, he went to be director of finance in a town that is about our size. Marcia, correct?
Yeah.
They have 4 people in Ralph's office alone. They have an assistant department, assistant director of Department of Public Works, a town engineer, and a town something else that
Probably
report to
assistant
that
town
director of
So
Public Works.
you haven't
We have
grown
one guy.
For 17 years, you haven't.
Well, I'm not even asking for
Yeah, he's
help
not
from
asking.
myself,
I
I
just
want
want
help from
people to
these guys.
understand.
That is.
What we have in Ralph is
Yes.
unusual.
I appreciate that, thank you, Steve. I
And-
do
No, thank
appreciate
you
that.
so much for everything you do.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And if you remember that graph that we looked at on the first night, that general government and public works were as flat as they can be. That,
Yes.
Ralph has asked for some capital. 3 of the 5 of you are on the capital committee. There were no changes after the capital committee's changes.
Yeah, so let me handle this.
Oh, thank you.
Discussion, thank you. Right?
Let's go to the
Let's hand the ball off, Marcia.
So
Yeah.
first of all, last year we put a 10-year plan in place. And it was a fairly solid plan, but it actually hasn't improved this year. So this tied very closely to that. The only changes that we made were that we put in, you'll all remember this, we put in $120,000 for the senior center air conditioning, which was 3 zones, 40,000
Yeah.
each. We funded 40,000 last year. We think we can have a second project for whatever the number is up on there, a little over 40,000, which will complete the entire project. So it's just now that we have a quote on it, that's what we can do to get the whole project. Great, came in a lot less than we thought. And then we held off on doing anything to the police station until we know what we're doing with the police station. So-
Absolutely.
So those are out. Everything else has changed. has not changed from this submission and really from the 10-year plan. The other thing which is really good is, 2 years ago, and probably for a long time before that, each year, the vehicle number in each of the 10 years was a single number. This year, we've got, for each of those 10 years, we got a plate number of what's getting replaced. So we didn't even have that last year. We had it for 1 year, but now we've got it for all 10 years. So we have got a vehicle by vehicle replacement schedule for the entire highway department for 10 years now. So which is awesome.
Awesome.
So this is executing to the 10-year plan, and we got it locked down, so we know what we need. Obviously, things can change over the, as new news comes up, but so this plan's pretty solid. We did actually add a couple little things. There's a plate compactor and a lift station, which will,
The lift is safety.
what's that?
The lift was for safety.
Right, the lift was for safety. It also will help a little bit from just getting mechanic work done a little bit. So, those weren't in the 10-year plan, they're small amounts, but they're really compelling cases, so I think that was for sure.
Were we still trying to get the new HVAC units this year though?
Oh, it's gonna be in this, yeah.
Okay.
So this is all good with the three of you, all of this?
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's no need to even talk about it, the three of you have gone through
We
it.
did it.
I know, but I mean, really, talk about it more.
We went through everything,
Yeah.
so I think we're good.
Yeah,
Well, thank you.
all right.
And that's it for Ralph and for the guys?
Can I ask a question and you can tell me if I'm out of bounds and I'm okay with that?
I think the answer is yes.
What's your question?
What's the question?
I propose to the Board of Ed that we combine facilities, town side and education side. Haven't gotten feedback, but if we're looking at this, is this something that's feasible, that we can manage this?
Yes, I
And
thi-
does it make sense, since we have the knowledge people here as well?
I think probably with the exception of the custodians during the day, internal, right? Maintaining buildings is maintaining buildings, parking lots, plowing, paving, all of those things.
Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of it does make sense. We'd have to flesh it out to make sure that it worked for everybody, but on face of it, yeah, it's quite,
And I just.
a lot of what Ralph's doing
Yeah.
and what Dino is doing and Sheldon are doing, and
Yeah.
maintaining our buildings, maintaining our streets.
Right.
Maintaining buildings is maintaining buildings.
Right. And does this scare you?
It doesn't scare me, but like anything else, it's a bigger workload, we need a bigger staff.
Well, that's why I'm looking at this
Right.
125 and I asked the question again of if we're progressing along in this route and it's a way to go, it will yield us savings in some manner. I don't know
I think so.
tangible, how tangible it is, but I know it will.
I know we'll get things done quicker. I
Yeah.
know in order to get those things done, we need probably more people to help get them done. I have no problem managing a bigger staff and a bigger budget, but like you mentioned before, already in other towns, they have 4 people and we have
Yeah,
2.
you won't be able to do it by yourself.
Yeah,
So we would have to
Yeah, but you can't
augment
manage it.
staff.
It would give us consistency, it would give us a lot of things, efficiencies.
But I
In
know,
those towns, are they doing the schools and the town, do you
Some
know,
towns.
Steve?
You know, different towns do it differently. In a lot of towns, the schools do everything on their buildings. They cut the grass, they do everything. We kind of have a mixed model already, where Parks and Rec takes care of everything outside the building, and the schools are in charge of inside the building. But like we have the parking lot at Wisconsin. It's been out there 3 years, right? Schools should be, and boards of ed should be in charge of educating children, in my opinion. They're not, Dan Colwell does a great job. He's their
I didn't say
facilities
he wasn't.
manager.
I don't want
I
that
know
to
you're
be
not
out.
saying anything negative, but he's got 3 huge buildings he's maintaining, right? They could use some more help, and I think we could work out a program that worked for everybody, I think.
but even getting into that, we talked about, we never really talked about the day-to-day maintenance of the schools, but we did talk about the capital project program, and that's something that we should include in that if we move
Yeah.
forward with something like that.
I just wanted to see how comfortable we were, because if we want to push it, I want to make sure if we push Steve and the Board of Ed a little bit to do this, or not push them, but
I would
keep
be
on the
in favor of
guidance.
that.
Yeah, as long
we
as
have
long
the
as we
right
structure
staff.
it correctly.
As long as
yeah.
we structure it correctly.
Yeah, we don't wanna put you in a losing hole.
No, no.
If we're doing this, we're doing it to win.
Right, exactly.
We're not doing it to put you in a
No,
losing
no,
spot.
exactly, so, yeah.
Yeah, on a related subject, Brian had brought something up about a month ago, 6 weeks ago. And he said, geez, there's a project at the schools for, was it air conditioners? I'm not sure what it was. And you said to them, this has been on the capital budget for
Bathrooms.
3 years.
Bathrooms.
Bathrooms. I am now putting together a list of every single capital project, where it is in the process. We have a lot of capital projects that are not where they should be.
Yeah.
We need to
We
do this
need
better.
to,
We
because
need to do this better.
I,
And I think we may need somebody to help us do that.
yes.
Now, until I get that all together and come together with a plan, I will come to you. I think that what we could do, it's early days, is if we have a capital project and we have a project manager engineer, right? We charge that person's time, like we do with Greg Dembowski, to all the streetscape projects, to each project, right? To pay for it. If we're doing all that work, we would get better plans, better specs. We did a bid recently. Now, Jules does our purchasing. He's not a specs person, he's not an engineer. We got bids from 100,000 to 1.2 million. That tells me we didn't spec it right. We've had to pull it back in, and we're gonna send it back out. But we're gonna put together something for you guys to look at.
I
Right.
think we need to. I think it's just a synergy that works, and the closer we can maintain all of this and, you know, scale the cost somehow, I don't know, but there's
Yeah.
gotta be something in there that's gonna pay us dividends.
Well, it's
Yeah,
definitely
we're-
gonna, you're gonna get.
We're gonna get our work done.
Well, that's the thing.
That's a dividend.
Honestly, that's more important than
That's the,
just the
that's the
dollars.
most important thing, the
because
students will
it's
get
getting
their
work done.
things,
Like the
Yeah.
Lakeview
baptisms or
Library.
whatever it is.
And I can tell you that some of these projects, if it's sat for 3 years, it's gonna be 20% more now than if we went out to bid.
Yes.
We know that.
Yes.
We had a
We
public
need to
comment
get these
yesterday,
things
and that person was not lying. That person was straight up. She had something that she had a quote on, we didn't act on it, and went up 30,000 or something. And she wasn't saying that to say it. That was a real number.
And the thing is, with all the work we've done as boards to get our capital plans where we want them, we are going to have years of capital projects to work on.
The thing is, we've gotten our capital into place,
Yep.
and I'll talk to Nahid's point, is now it's time to execute.
Right.
Mhm.
We've taken the work to line it up, we've taken the work to plan it, we've taken the work to fund it. That's all blue sky stuff. Now you gotta execute and complete.
Well, it means nothing if it can't be completed.
That's
So-
where we're
All the
gonna
hard
need
work
to do
that
more
everybody's
work.
So-
doing to get it done has gotta be completed.
How do we,
Get a
you're gonna
little
take this ball, cause I really, my goal, and I don't know about our board's goal here, is to have this in place for next year's budget discussion. Is to really have this, the i's dotted, the t's crossed, and it just becomes a transition.
I think as either the capital committee or the board of finance, every quarter we follow up on, the departments need to tell us, hey, you gave us whatever, $500,000 and these projects, this is the timeline and this is the,
Yeah.
I think it's something that, it's a win-win for both of us, we're all,
We've
I
said
think,
it, right, I
and
agree
So
with you.
with respect to that, Nahid, that Steve has put this together, that we'll have our meetings on the week of the 23rd, without you guys, during the day, as we talked last night. That, we're gonna ask the departments, we want this information. What employee is responsible for that project? That, what's the status of the revenue? And there'll be a drop-down menu with different statuses from at least, we hope for a grant till all the funding is secured. And the date that we're gonna get that done by. The planning, what's the status of the planning from haven't started or it's delayed to it's been completed, the date that we expect to get that done. Bidding and contracting, what's the status, the date that it's expected to get done, and then the construction or the purchase, the performance where does it stand, and the date that that's expected to be
That's
done.
what you want.
We need to do this.
We really need.
We
We've
have so many
talked about
projects.
this. We've been reactive fighting the macro, the COVID,
Yep.
and all. Now we're proactive.
Yes.
Yep.
It's now time to take it
And we
and go.
help, we help if needed, but we get the things done,
All right.
yes.
It is, you know, we have Greg Dembowski, who's actually taken on the project as a solar, helping
Right.
us. Greg's bucket is full completely. He's really good at what he does. There's no way he can do all of these.
We gotta figure out a
Yeah.
way, and that's
And
on you.
I'm gonna come back to you with a
Right.
plan, and the board of selectmen with a plan
Right.
to address this, and I think we can fund it a lot out of the projects. We get grants allow this sort of thing. We charge Greg, it's about 60% of his salary on average gets charged to the projects.
Good.
Okay,
All right.
that's great.
Any other questions? Les, you got any questions for him?
Yeah, no, I'm just, where does the NBC come in on all this, what we're talking about, municipal
The-
building committee?
The NBC is in charge of about 6 different projects right now. I checked this
Because I'd like
pretty
to,
carefully.
I'd like to know where they are too, just like the
Yeah.
other departments.
He-
Can we
Here's,
let these guys go, though?
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
but-
sorry, yes,
Yeah.
I'm
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you all of
Thank
you.
you.
We can have this
My
conversation.
apologies.
No, we can
No,
have
that's
this
okay, you're
conversation.
good.
We
We
can
just,
have it.
sometimes these are conversations for deliberations and not.
That's
when the
a
boards are
really,
sitting in
really
front of
good
us.
question.
You wanna
The NBC
parks
is
and
in
rec.
charge of about 5 or 6 projects.
Oh, yeah.
With CLES, we had Arcadis, who was doing all the day-to-day, making sure the contractor did it, that the invoices were in, that they were correct, they were for the right things, the work was done. The NBC, these are volunteers. They cannot get out to a project every day and look at it like Greg can
Yeah,
with his
just come onto the
streetscape.
table, just come on.
That's where we're running. They are ostensibly in charge of managing the project, doing it
Okay.
all, approving the invoices, making sure the work is done. But this is a volunteer board. They're gonna need help.
No.
You want eyes in the building when you're doing something,
I agree.
right?
All right, we've
Does
started
that answer your
something
question?
new
It will.
for
I
the
have no more
public.
questions.
We know y'all, but we'd like you to introduce yourself and your position so anybody watching will know who you are as well now.
Where do we look? Where are they looking?
Just don't listen.
They're everywhere.
All right. I'm Laura Murphy. I'm the Director of Parks and Recreation.
I'm Christopher Rebuse, I'm the park supervisor.
All right. If you want, we can start with recreation. That recreation doesn't include any grounds. It's the administration of the kids and adults taking volleyball classes, doing Easter egg hunts. The actual, this is just the administration. The actual direct costs go through a separate fund, so they're not funded with taxpayer dollars. And because it's such a small budget, a $4,000 increase is over 10%. And that biggest increase, equipment maintenance and repair. Do you remember what that is, Laura?
The dock installation.
Oh, the dock, yes. Just taking and putting the dock in and out every year has increased in the costs to do that.
What's the cost for that? Do we?
Roughly
outsource it?
10,000.
No, but who,
We
what
do.
is the, okay. so
We outsource it. And that also includes our docks that we're purchasing this year that are new. They're a little bit larger, so we expect that cost to go up as well.
They put them in, they take them out and they store them for us.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
So that's also storage fee.
That's
Yes.
the
Winter
winter storage.
Right.
These are the dogs we did last year, right?
Yeah, we're not arguing that.
Right, keep going
I
out.
wouldn't put it in my garage for that kind of money. Get a lot more in my garage.
Well, you know, now these places like Echo Bay,
Yeah.
you wanna store your boat inside, 20-foot boat, it's like $4,000 to store it for the winter.
I'm good, take it out, store it, keep it good.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a good
And that
business
fee
doing it.
also helps us with any repairs too. So if something goes loose, they'll come right out and address it.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Bargaining thing, right?
Everything else, just little adjustments that are highlighted in the back. Communications being the biggest, and we're seeing that every place that the telephone costs are going up quite a bit.
Is everybody on the town plan? Or is it all individuals' expenses, or how does that work? I've never asked that question, I don't know.
I think everyone is on the town plan in the town except for the library, and we're moving them over, if you remember.
That's right, I remember you said.
So this is not a cost incurred by them, this is a real cost. This is a
This is a real
town-wide cost,
cost,
like per
yeah.
employee, basically.
And then the other big one is pesticide licenses for all 4 workers, so that the work can be spread out more evenly, and there's a cost to that. Any questions on the recreation end? There's not a lot there. Oh, there is a next priority form, the kids' concerts, that, for $1,600, the selectmen, first selectman and selectmen, kept it in, that, and these would be concerts for children. You want to explain your vision?
Sure. So we offer a concert once a month for our littlest participants. It's for free. It's at the playground, and it's kind of like a little educational, but about an hour worth of music and fun.
This is in the summer?
Yes.
So for 4 times, is everyone, each one is $400, yeah, something like that, yeah. That's all, sounds good.
All right. With respect to grounds, that is not as easy. That, the first one is, overtime. That, first, these union employees are going out for a new contract, so the union wages, may change. The overtime wages, we cut that back last year because we had a new employee, a new full-time employee, and Ralph has got more knowledge than the rest of us, and he said, it's not gonna cut back because snow happens when snow happens, and so we haven't, there's a number of reasons, and
Where are we year to date?
we are over this number,
Yeah, over this number, 30,000 over, 20,000 over, where are we year to date roughly?
I can look at that real quick here. And with my last report doesn't include the payroll from last week, for the last big storm. But I think we've already hit 53. Let me,
Why don't you keep going, I'll look it up.
I think we're at
Thank you.
67.
But this year's been incredible. There's a number of reasons for the overtime and Laura tried to detail them out for the selectmen. We talked a little bit about maybe on a weekly basis, just jotting down what the overtime is from, so it's more data and less words. But do you want to talk a little bit about that CLES's?
We're up for second year to date's 58,000 already,
And we budgeted 25.
So I,
And
I,
then
So it's
we've
just-
already
it's 23,
transferred
24.
over another 12,
so
so we're short.
with snow, do we, and again, I'm sorry, this might be a question that's like,
No,
do we need to clean snow from the parks and the,
They
No,
do
the
the
school
parking
parking
lots.
lots.
oh,
and
parking
schools.
lots, parking lots.
And the
Yeah.
schools.
and
We're different, remember that we operate
We do it.
differently.
And CLES has proved to be a nightmare. The way that parking
Yeah,
lot
it's
is
designed
structured,
with the
it
circles.
is a nightmare to snowplow.
And on top of the plowing, you also have the lovely way that it's pitched. And when you put all the snow one place, it starts to melt and then refreeze
back.
almost every morning. So our crews are out there every morning or at night when there's school activities to make sure the lots are safe. So it's an ongoing battle all winter, and it is a problem. Yeah,
And we got a lot of snow.
a lot.
Remember
So,
Remember we had to
Yeah,
rent the
yeah.
box to go in the front of the cat? Like
Is the
3 years ago.
majority of your overtime snow removal? Or how does that break down? If you didn't have any snow, what would your overtime be? The 25,000 that we were looking at, 30,000?
So we also
Yeah, 'cause
do
you
all
like-
of the, we do garbage removal when it's nicer weather, right? We do garbage removal. We have scholastic sports that we have to prep for. We have the hanging baskets downtown that have to be watered. This past year was a drought, as you know, so that was even more overtime for
So
that.
isn't that part of the regular time? Can
No.
all those tasks like garbage can be scheduled to be?
On the weekends too, because we also have events, so that has to get taken out. So there's a lot that happens throughout
I
the
think what we're
weekend as
seeing
well.
incrementally, instead of watering once a week, we're watering 2 and 3 times a week. That means that other projects get pushed off. And we're gonna keep better track of this in the following year, because we had the same question, and Laura's gonna be, roughly every week, where did we spend our time? What did we do? What's driving this? You know, these guys work hard and they do a good job. And
we respect
let me
that.
tell you,
We
Laura's cheap
respect
as hell.
that,
She's
you
not
know.
giving
I don't
overtime
think
if she
we're at-
doesn't need it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
no.
think we're questioning
No, no.
that. I
I
think
think
we're
we're
questioning,
just
is there a
trying
better
to
way to
see-
do this? How can we
Yeah.
help in a different
Yeah, right,
way?
exactly.
We're not questioning the hours
Oh, I
or
know, I
work
know.
ethic, we're
Thousand.
questioning.
Oh, I took that
Can we
number
change
there.
something here
Yeah.
to
As
save
of-
the money? That's the.
And
Or
that
was
was
that, was
the
that
budget.
the entire budget for the year?
Yeah,
I think
maybe because we thought we would have
those
savings
as you're
with the new
pushing
person.
this going forward,
But that was huge there. I mean, that.
making this start
We
making.
didn't have to.
Okay, so
Yeah,
yeah,
65,
Brianna brought up a
58.
good point.
I'm just saying,
No, no, no.
okay.
No,
No, go, do it.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, is when we're looking at these departments, can we shift some of these like tasks like to town side and give Ralph more people and he does the snow since they do the 80% majority of the snow, and if we give him an extra person and I don't know how to say it, but I mean, does it make sense that they remove the snow from the schools?
No.
Does that make any sense in a business plan?
Here, there are
I'm
two-
asking, I'm not
there's
telling
two
you.
drivers there. One is the schools have to be clear by 6:30 in the morning, have to be.
I understood.
When we're doing the regular drivers in Public Works, right, they're going around continually, they are full up with their routes, so we need more bodies.
I don't think Ralph
We're
has
adding
the-
a guy maybe though this year
Yeah,
for Ralph's team, right?
Mhm.
He says he hasn't added a body in 17 years and he needs extra help, but he seems to be covering the snow, he just needs extra help. What if we use that person
Well,
for the
But I don't think we
school
have
snow?
all
I'm just
five.
asking, I don't
Yeah.
have an answer,
we have
please.
all 5 people and an outside contractor, and maybe Chris could talk about it.
I think we wanna look at it a little more carefully, maybe remember it's 2 different unions.
All right,
Yeah.
that's way above my league, so
Yeah.
that's above my pay grade.
Chris, do you want
I
to
can
address
accept
that?
We can look at it, but we can't move somebody from Public Works to Parks and Rec, or Parks and Rec.
No.
We can move the
No,
work.
I'm
I
saying
had a different
move the
thought
work.
We can
process.
move
I'm
some of the
saying
work.
The town does snow removal, that's what they do.
Yeah, they're really
Park
good
and
at it.
Rec, that's like a burden almost, but you do the good job, I'm saying, but it sounds like it's sort of a burden, and the town does more snow removal.
Yeah, but we would need them to do the snow removal, okay, we move it to Public Works, right? But then, what,
It may not work.
May not
This
work.
was
We gotta
ju-
look
This
at
was just a
yeah, no, it's not a bad
thought
idea.
process, this
I was
wasn't a,
talking about it in a different way.
okay, how were you gonna talk about it?
Well,
Fire away.
I was thinking, is it, but this is not this budget, this is all the things happening next year, is do we need to be more fair to the town side departments that are doing things for the school? So is it that, you know, the Parks and Rec enters into like a mutual agreement with the schools and says, look, we're doing X amount of hours plowing, raking, doing this, doing that, I'm gonna submit a bill for our services to you. So then they're creating revenue to offset their expenses, and the schools are having a more, so what I do for work is operations, so I just look at how things operate and I move things and I go, well, that should be here and this should be there. But in a financial aspect, is it better and more transparent to say, well, you know, the town side budget is going through $30,000 more in overtime for doing this at the school or this here, that here. So if we bill the school for this, the school pays it, in a sense, a transfer. That gives their budget a little bit of revenue, it offsets the expenses. And then when you have an education budget presented and it says, well, we're paying for snow removal, we're paying for an ASSO, we're paying for this, we're paying for that. Our budget is legitimately this because of operational expenses that the town has been taking on for so long with Glenn's, you know, the PCOD thing that you put up there shows that the public safety and all these things are growing. So maybe we need to see if there's a possibility, it's not something to be decided this budget cycle, but going forward, is it that we start shifting a little bit of revenues and expenses and giving the departments that, we're not hammering you saying, why did you have all this revenue, why did you have all this expense, why did you do this, why did you do that?
Right.
It's more of like, can we alleviate some of that stress and some of that expense on a department that might be,
That's a question for the Board of Finance that we can take off.
right,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
all
no,
I'm
no,
saying.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right,
Just so
I have
for-
one more question though, before we go on to that. When we
Forget it, we'll talk
calculate,
about it later.
you said other schools do this, and you heard this,
Mm.
so, and we're gonna move on, I know we do.
Yeah.
But when we calculate that cost per student against other towns and we rank in the middle, are we really not ranked in the middle because we're taking on these town expenses on our side?
I don't think so, because when the state does this work, they do what's net equalized, like Grand List, net equalized cost. For example, Newtown collects garbage for all their residents.
All right, we'll take this offline, it's gonna get too much.
So they
Okay.
equalize it, are you
All right.
doing this?
So I understand the overtime, I get
Alright.
it.
So then, I guess the next one is the 68,000, that's the increase in the department-specific outside services.
So that, talk over you, Marcia.
Price increases.
So,
Priorities.
a few things are going on here. Some are price increases, and some are, items moving around, and, we, had, let's see, there's a lot going on here. One is we started taking over the maintenance of the fields. There was a really convoluted system for the fields that, the clubs would
Some we
run-
were lining, some clubs were lining, some clubs were doing it 5 times a week, we were doing it twice a week. Remember, we had this whole conversation, so we took it all in-house, and now the clubs are offsetting with some revenue, but it doesn't pay the entire cost. Is that right? Did I say that properly?
Yes.
Shouldn't we
But
charge them more?
everybody's getting the same level of service. Each of the clubs is getting the same level of service.
Right, that's great, but shouldn't we charge the clubs more to, then, because again, it's
We
expensive.
could, but we're
increased
trying
expenses
to
for us,
help them keep their costs reasonable for the
for the
kids.
They're all town
They're all town
residents,
kids,
that's
right?
all,
All
it's
residents.
not really out of
Well, most
town.
of them.
They may play out of town teams, but it's all
But
town
it's,
children
Yeah, yeah.
playing. We
The
had that
majority
issue
of town residents.
come up when you said that with the basketball fees, they changed them in the middle of the season, so the kids paid a fee. Say they paid $500 or not, you know, I'm using a number, and then for the season, and then they got told mid-season, oh, we've decided to up the gym rates on you guys, so now you gotta pay an extra $300, and the parents saying, but we paid $500 for the season, we should get a season.
Right, but
And we changed the
I think
rates in the middle.
from my seat and from our seat, I think the question is, it's a 20% increase in operating costs, and this will stay with us, right?
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
We will always
we're
look
all
at this.
accepting that this is.
Where the Parks and Rec Commission came in is, we wanna make this reasonable, recover some of the costs. They didn't feel that, and I agree with them, that you can put all the costs for lighting over on the teams, maybe incrementally move up a little bit each year,
Right.
so we get to the point where they do. But it's a balancing act, you know, and we don't wanna disadvantage the kids. It's-
Wait, go back to the line, yeah, I wanna see that.
I don't understand this. Do we have a view of the 68,000?
No, that's what I didn't
Yeah,
get
where
out of
is
this
it?
whole thing, I didn't
We need to
get
get that, because this is like shows up in the, what we're gonna show the town, right? So if we're investing 68,000 more, I don't know how much of it is because the clubs are paying less. for example.
Yeah, I got lost there, I'm not gonna lie.
So is there something that shows the 68,000?
We have, so 40 of it is right here. That, all the work for the, all the work for the fields,
Lining all of the
that
fields.
needs.
So what's the cost of the paint versus the cost of the labor?
Roughly 12,000.
12,000 of that 63,000 is
Because
paint?
some of the paint was
Oh, I'm
other
sorry.
paint, so 9,000 is
Right,
what we.
so 9 we talked about.
9,000, so the majority of that's labor.
Correct.
And the majority of our overtime is labor, obviously. So we have an extra 100,000 something dollars in labor and overtime.
And the clubs were doing it free, kind of, right?
They were outsourcing it through the same company.
They were, and they were paying it?
And then passing it on to the kids.
Yes.
So then the
parents.
kids were, so, okay, so the town is taking it over and we're paying for it, which, again, yeah, I think that question is.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, at this point, we're almost at an employee. Between the overtime and the painting of the fields,
Yeah,
we're
100,000.
paying more for overtime in the painting of the fields than we pay an employee.
That's a numbers.
We're talking 9,000, so you're talking 52,000 or $54,000 here. We're talking 58,000 in overtime.
But we know an employee's not gonna offset overtime.
Yeah.
It's not a either or, it's just a print. Right? It's not like you could get an employee and not spend this money. 'cause
Right.
Overtime is
That's right, it's
happening,
not an either or,
overtime
it's
is
a point.
happening.
It's not an either
Yeah.
or.
Not all the overtime is happening. I don't think that's
No.
the case. I would, maybe I'm wrong.
So, I guess we have to dig in more to see what can we do.
Yeah, I don't understand this chart. Can you lay out what the 68,000 is in a more simple way for me?
I will.
In about 2 weeks, I'm gonna be standing in front of the town explaining that we're going up 68,000, and I have no clue what to say.
We can do that.
Blame
That,
No,
No, Brian's point
We
is,
can blame you for a
I
lot
can't,
of
I
things.
can't,
correct,
I guess
Brian,
we've taken over some of the things that the clubs were doing. I don't know how much that is and how much benefit the clubs are getting. That's a single number, that's fine. We can, if you guys decided to do that. we should
We'll
know
dig
how
in
much
and
that
come
is.
back to you, give you a little more
Yeah,
detail.
in the next round, a couple,
So
we're
six-
here a lot.
68,000, one of the things in the 68,000 is 15,000 that we cut last year, non-specific cut, we just said, we're gonna cut 15,000. That went back in, so we didn't redo that cut, so, that puts the specific items at 43 that went up, but we can.
So we cut 15 last year, and you're saying that wasn't achievable?
Uh,
Is that what, I'm missing the,
Well,
I
we
missed
cut,
that
and
again.
then we put it back in for this year.
Yeah.
So, for,
Anyway, let's not try to guess it here. Can you come back with the, we have
Yeah,
three
let us go
meetings-
back.
that would be
meetings
what's
next
for
week, 3 meetings
deliberations
this week.
for, we can
Yeah,
get that.
let's go
answered.
through that
Correct.
68,000 next week.
You will go back, get the, more
1/7.
details, so,
Yeah.
and lay it out, so we don't have a conversation, well, what is it? It
Yeah,
is, it
exactly. It's
isn't?
just, it's pretty
Yeah.
straightforward.
So
And
we've doubled
Part of
our cost of outside services for the last 4 years.
Yeah, I agree with you, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
and then, we do have revenue in there for the first time this year from the clubs, but it's 20,000.
And that's in the revenue section?
Yes.
All right, well, that's good.
What's that revenue from?
Each club is charged a per person fee that, to offset some of these costs.
So,
That's in other revenues?
right.
Where is that in the revenue section?
Yes,
So I'm gonna ask a dumb
but not
question,
other revenues under
because I'm good at
dues
that.
and fees or something.
We don't charge, do we charge our high school kids to pay for play anymore?
No.
No.
I don't think so,
We
I
do
think we did
not.
away with that.
So
years
now,
ago.
why are we charging our kids that don't make the high school teams that wanna play sports? Cause generally, a lot of these kids aren't the ones playing the high school sports, these are kids that just wanna play. Why are we charging them on our side when we pay for the high school kids to play for free?
These are
I'm
the
just throwing it out there.
organizations that are charging them, so they come up with the fees to charge. So
Okay.
whichever club it is, that covers the cost of either their uniforms, their coaches, or referees, etc. So that's how they're able to run their program.
In some cases, they
Wait,
get
but
sponsors
But
as well.
when you say-
Glenn's question is, why is the town collecting part of that fee?
Ah.
I think the
The
answer
20,000.
is,
Well, so we,
we're collecting a fee for the incremental costs that we're incurring to support that program. So the fact they're using a field, we shouldn't be really charging them for the use of the field. But if
No,
we're lining the fields and we're paying.
But we're lining for high school, we're paying for all that, the turf and everything else. These are kids, my
Yeah.
point is, these are
Yeah, yeah.
kids that aren't playing high school sports. These are kids that are playing the sport because they love the sport. And a lot of them aren't playing high school ball, because these are like interim kids
I
playing.
agree.
Well,
A lot of them are also training for high school and.
Yeah, I think of it more like the young kids.
I think it's
Yeah.
like more
It's-
like the travel team,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
kids
Do you
that-
have other towns coming
and
into?
another way to look
Or
at it,
just
if we didn't have any
Um,
kids
for
playing any
special
sports,
events like
we wouldn't be
tournaments,
lining these
so we
fields.
have like the CT
But it's
rugby.
mostly
I'm just, it was just a point to
We're
bring
just
up.
trying
Is
to-
this a
Yeah.
cost
Yeah.
that
It's
we're
mostly for
fighting
kids.
over a smaller cost, or
Only
is this
for
a cost we
tournaments
should
that
maybe
have kids
absorb
coming.
somewhere down the road? That's all.
Then his point is valid.
Yeah, we
He's
can,
just
we can
saying-
talk about that,
Over.
that's why we didn't charge.
As long as there are
All
kids in Brookfield and the residents of Brookfield, that's all.
But it's all Brookfield centered.
Yeah, she
not-
said it's all
okay.
Brookfield.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Not every child on every
So
team
I
is from
agree
Brookfield.
with you.
There are
Uh,
teams
Not
who
every,
have-
but
pretty
kids
much,
Should be
though.
free.
Oh, most are.
Yeah, yeah.
I would say-
say 90s, probably 8%.
Depends
right?
on the league, but
Yeah.
85-90%,
Alright,
yeah.
We're taking a
There are
step towards
kids.
what you said,
Yeah,
by
yeah,
reducing
yeah.
how much we
And we
charge.
have-
I agree.
so there's
I know,
different fees.
Brian, I'm way on
Yeah.
board. I'm
It's
just
$10
saying,
per player
maybe
for
not this
residents,
budget
20 for
season, but
non-residents.
let's look at the impact for
Okay,
next budget.
that's
I'd just
the
like
way
to
to
see
go.
that, if we're talking about 30,000, I don't know what the numbers are until you get your numbers.
Yeah.
Is this something really worth the charging our kids, our parents, to use the fields? That's all. I'd rather see him on the field playing than worrying about a few dollars, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, you
You
know,
know, that's
I think if it's more
absolutely
like-
an investment in our kids, in our town.
Newtown has been charging every team, every player, every season.
Okay, but it's all
And
kids.
they pay
Yeah, oh, yeah,
for really big
absolutely.
projects.
These are all
They big-
things
they-
that we're learning how to place them in.
We ring fence that money for projects for the field, new goals, new bleachers, things like that.
How much do they charge, do you know?
How much is it? It's not much.
It's just one of those things, that- what is the real cost and what can we do?
We charge $10 per player, that's a resident, and 20 per.
All right,
Per
let's
player
keep
per
going,
season.
yep, let's move, let's go.
Okay.
All right, what else?
And New,
All right.
I got
Newtown
y'all.
does it, but they're
Non-recurring
more.
maintenance
They charge
items,
They
they're
charge much more.
non-recurring items that we
Let's
took
have one
out.
conversation, please. Brianna, I'm doing your job.
Wow.
Half of my name, buddy.
Go ahead, sorry.
They need a break tomorrow.
We need a break.
Yeah.
We're a little slap happy. It's not good.
Actually,
I'm
we could
behaving
have another
tonight.
meeting tomorrow.
Brian and Brianna need the night off.
We can hold it at Brookfield Social tomorrow. We'll have a
Yeah,
meeting
there
there.
you go.
Go ahead,
That's a
Marcia.
good idea.
We'll deliberate.
Non-recurring maintenance items is non-recurring. I should point out that there were some changes in reclassification, so this budget has been reclassified so that the proper classifications this year are in there. That there's some non-recurring maintenance items that we tried to take things out a few years ago from little tiny capital items like mulch and stuff. So, that has a list of what would make that up in the detail. Equipment maintenance and repair, that went up primarily because tool rentals prices are going up. And then department-specific supplies went up a very tiny bit.
I'm sorry, quick question on the tool rental. Is there any tool that, because the price is going up, that we should consider acquiring?
12% is significant. Dude.
You can come back on that if you want. If you think that, you know.
Are you saying there are any tools we should buy now that we think are gonna go up another
Well, yeah,
15%?
for a while, I remember we were renting some, like, a Bobcat-y kind of thing because we wouldn't buy a new one, and it wasn't used
Right.
very often. It might not have been you guys, it might have been
Sherry.
Public
The other
Works.
guys.
Yeah.
Also, we use that Bobcat.
Well, there was another tool that it's only used occasionally, and so we rented it when we needed it. But if it's getting to the
Yeah.
point where rental cost is approaching where it's more of a benefit just to buy it, just take a look at what's in that rental, and if there's anything we should consider. There's a good financial case to just say, why don't we just buy it, so.
Yes.
The capital guys.
I was gonna say for like
Yeah.
capital next year.
Right.
There was a non-recurring court maintenance fee, and we took that out before it went to the boards, just because of the new contractor, and did not recommend that. Then we've got capital, and you guys were all here for capital.
Want me to do it?
I want you to do it, yes.
Okay, this one's a little bit more complex.
Yeah.
So the list again, fairly consistent with the 10-year plan, which is good. There was a request to pull in a lot of items, and so what we did was, and it's a little tricky, but the Bobcat was priority 3 to get moved to priority 2. So the capital committee agreed that we'd fund the top 2 because that was kind of at the level that was in the 10-year plan, and then most of the other things were put into next year. The board, either Steve or I guess it was Steve in his budget, put a lot of these items back. And Steve, I'll talk for you, tell me if I'm wrong. I think it's because we thought we could afford to put them.
Yep.
I would say that the first one on the list, number 2, which is the additional Ford, that was high priority, just didn't make the cut. So that one.
That was on the cliff, what you're saying.
That was on the cliff.
So now it's back on land.
Right, and then the other 3, which are much lower on the priority list, weren't too close to the cliff. So as we get into deliberations, if we've got room, that the board, Steve and the board of selectmen supported, said put all those in. If we don't have room, I would love to keep the top one that they added in, and I'd be less sad if the other 3 came out.
And Brian and I discussed this, remember, we're looking at the next 3 or 4 years and where all our expenses and debt are coming in. We have room this year to kind of smooth out that curve, bring some of these in from next year or the year after into this year to get it smoother.
We
There's
know
the
we
same
have a
problem we're gonna
problem
hit with the
next year
schools,
with capital.
with the-
Okay,
Whether or not we have room this year will be a deliberation when we get together, so.
got it.
Steve believes there's room this year.
Okay,
I don't have an opinion yet.
okay.
And it's the debt service, right, so it's,
Well, this is all cash capital. None of this is debt.
but are we offsetting it? Are we,
Is that-
are we offsetting it?
Well, we'll go
It's
through
okay,
that.
Yeah.
All right, parks maintenance. That poor little Onona Woods that went in and out.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, that one we have in future years, it got pulled in, but, you
It's
know,
out, right?
It's out.
it got put in, taken out, put back in, taken back out, so it's all over the place, just like that road is. The road needs to be repaired, but it's not used very much, and it's good enough for the amount of use that it's getting. We can survive for a couple more years. It's in the 10-year plan, honestly, like 3 years out. It'll get done.
Yeah.
If there's an opportunity to do it sooner, we'll do it sooner, but.
You obviously don't
eventually-
walk down there to go fishing then.
I walked down there last year in the winter, and I
Where's
used to
Little
see
Knoll
exactly what it
Woods?
looks like.
Going down to the bridge.
Right.
Going down to the
Yeah,
bridge
down
of
to
Bridgewater.
133, it's
Yeah,
on the road on the
yeah.
right-hand side that goes
We used
down
to
to
go
the.
drinking there in
Just
high
past
school.
Obtuse
Yeah.
Rocks. Right next to Obtuse Rocks, there's a
Right.
parking lot,
Yeah.
and the road where we keep the police boats,
Yeah.
the marina
Yep.
patrol,
Alright.
right
It's
there.
rough,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
rough, there's no
yeah.
question it's rough, but it's, for the amount of get
Something
using it,
Brian
it's
doesn't
survivable
know,
for a
it's
couple of years.
amazing.
Right.
But
And Brian walked down there.
I didn't know what
There
it
it
was
is.
called.
It's inside, you don't know it.
I was there with Les.
Field trip, yeah.
No coat.
I've been down there
You
too,
know,
you can
the
barely
word-
find
As a
it.
matter of fact, tomorrow's meeting is gonna be down there.
Yes.
I grew up in Palm Brook, so I know the
Ow,
area.
All right, can we get off capital?
And
I'm sorry, do you guys want to say there in capital?
School
No,
grounds.
that's,
I want to know if they want to.
oh,
Yeah, any thoughts, yeah, if there's something that you really
Yeah,
feel
if you
that you need,
disagree with the capital committee's opinion or anything,
Yeah.
in my opinion, feel free.
yes, this is for,
I'm very happy to say no again.
Yeah, what I'm saying is my personal view, and I'm very
Yeah.
boisterous, is I'll do my best to get that top one back in, that Steve put in, and if the bottom three need to come out, I'm
The
not
top-
gonna fight hard to
The
keep
top
them
one
in.
is in, right?
If-
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
the time we're done delivering, I don't want that one to come out.
yeah,
Got
yeah.
it,
If the
understood.
other three have to come out because we can't afford them, then
All right, so
not
I'm gonna ask the question then, if we get to deliberations and we can't afford it, out of the next three, which one would you put last? We're gonna try to get them all
I
in.
think they're priority order.
They're
I know,
proud.
but I'm asking them
That's a
right
good
now in
question.
case it changed. If there's one there, we're gonna try to get them all in, I mean, that's the
Counting
object.
the Bobcat or the Bobcat?
But if there's one there, out of those
That's what I'm
three,
saying.
that
That's right.
was,
Got it.
out of those three that are highlighted,
Yep.
right there, is one of those, like, or all of them on the same line, but of importance. I know the priorities are 7, 8, 9, but have they changed? Are they still in that same type of priority?
If we're going, if you had to say for priority 7, 8, 9, 7 would be top priority out of,
To keep,
to keep.
Good answer.
okay, so it stayed the same.
Yeah.
And if we could do them all, we'll do them all. So then, if one had to drop out, we would drop number 10 out, the list on the number 10 one if we had to drop one out, or would it be a difference between 9 or 10? Which one would you
you
keep?
know, another column that we could add, I don't know if that's how many years will that equipment serve us?
We already have all that, it's just.
I just
Is
hit
Is
it.
there? Okay.
There we
Okay.
go.
Hit it so
If
it fit
you're
on
not
the
seeing
letter
it,
size.
because
Okay,
they're in the
yeah.
far left.
Right, if there was like out of 9 or 10, which one is still the one you would keep 9? Or would
We
it-
would keep 9 because that's already almost 30 years old.
Okay.
So they did prioritize.
Yeah, so
Oh,
it's,
really
I just
good.
wanted to double check, that's all. All right, good.
But if you said something different, I would have been mad at you for not having appropriate.
Yeah.
Answer, you
Yeah.
guys.
Thank you, that column was
That
helpful.
was a trick
Brian did
question.
such a good job.
Oh, you're really gonna butter them up like that?
Yeah, I did that.
Wow.
She knows
Yeah,
that.
She
That
learned
doesn't
last
keep
year
both.
when we got
It
crushed.
doesn't work.
Oh,
We had a long discussion. We need to be fully prepared for Brian.
Yeah.
And Laura took that to heart
Yeah.
and did it.
and you know, the more
Yeah.
people do take it to heart, it's easier to
Yeah.
let their team do the
We-
work.
This is probably one of the more complex capital areas, and I
Yep.
think that we as a team over the last years have worked very well together to figure out how to optimize this.
This-
This is one of the areas that has been the most underinvested
Mhm.
over time, and we have to recover in small dollar items, so
Yeah.
it's easy to kind of say, wait. But, so we've been working really hard to get this back up. It'll take a few more years. It'd be great if we can do this, but we've been working really well together.
This saves so much time during the budget season, and this saves so much energy moving in the right direction. The value of what you guys are doing is just
No,
amazing.
it's amazing.
Do you remember when we used to call people back in, how important is this capital project?
Yeah.
My first
Well,
year,
do you
I
remember
remember,
how-
this is just a world of difference.
People would,
Yeah.
every single board would come in and we'd we'd hear it fresh
Right.
right now.
No, this
We
is
never had it up
amazing
front.
to me, I gotta be honest.
And then we
with you.
didn't have a prioritization
Never.
across every
No.
department.
We never did.
No, we shot in the dark from not,
It was,
from,
if you did.
we
if
had
you did
knowledge,
well,
but not
you
enough
didn't get it,
knowledge.
then you got it the
Yeah.
fourth year. What a crazy way to be.
All
New
right,
York City
anything
Marathon.
else for, we
No.
gotta go through here?
May I add just something in regards to going back to snow? Just to give you just a little background on that. It's not, like, I know we're talking about the highway department getting an additional employee, could that employee possibly take over for?
Well, it was just a throw in the
Yeah,
dark,
no,
it wasn't
but
that
what
talk,
I'm,
yeah.
the only reason well, because there are other towns that do that, or their highway departments salt the parking lots, all that stuff. But right now, the way the schools work for us, we not only do all the schools, we also do majority of all the sidewalks. Like during those bad storms, you know, their employees were not gonna be getting through 6-foot-high drifts. That's where our toolcats were invaluable. And, you know, the town probably doesn't see all that, you know, because that's not what's evident to you when you're driving around, right?
Right,
But that new school, like all those big parking lots, they don't have the equipment to remove the snow off all those difficult sidewalks. And those are all things that have been incorporated into our jobs
Mhm.
over the course of the last several years. And so it's definitely much more labor intensive than other than just putting a truck driver out there into
Absolutely.
the school.
Yeah.
yes.
So I'm just letting you know that,
Yeah.
just so
I
that.
was more looking to take a burden off and then to
Yeah.
make it be synergy instead of a burden, that's why, not that you weren't doing a good job.
No,
not
no,
that you
I
weren't-
didn't take it as
Yeah,
that.
I
I
don't
didn't
want you
take
to
it as
take
that.
it that, I
No,
wanted
no.
you to understand, this was more of, how do we help each other help each other?
Yeah, no,
And-
no, I
that's all.
get it.
I think it's similar to, we had the conversation with Ralph about, should Public Works take over paving the parking lots? And there are companies who specialize just in doing parking lots paving, because it is so much more complicated. There are sidewalks, there are light stanchions, and this is the same thing. You're not just going down the road and shoving it to the side. They gotta look at every single curve. They gotta put the snow where the kids are not gonna be. And the side, it's much more complicated, it takes a lot more.
It's just,
fair.
it's,
Fair
again,
answers.
I didn't take it as
I
a
know,
negative, I'm just saying that, you know, I think sometimes from some different perspectives, you don't get to see exactly really what we have to do,
Yeah.
to see the parking
Yeah,
lot.
we don't actually see it, I mean, we see it, but we don't know who's
And
actually
it's-
doing it, you're right.
And unfortunately, it's like, it's really going into different environments than the highway department, because the roads, the highway department, once they're out pretty much nonstop, 24/7. We're not, so we don't have things like heat-generated traffic on the road surfaces, right? When we turn the ice, we turn the ice.
Right.
So
Didn't think
it's
of
just
that.
a different battle, you know, just a
Yeah.
whole different battle on
Right.
that. But is there a way that could be incorporated to try to help us at some point? Possibly, yeah, because we're always stretched.
That's what I was just trying to figure out a way. Now, you pulled another way, from my layman's point of term, is you say, at night, could the town sander go through instead of you loading up a sander and going through? I'm just thinking, how can we help each other here? And that's all, to
Yeah,
take some burden
just,
off, you know.
Again, just
I think if it was
adding
like
2 cents.
through that parking lot a lot more.
All right, anything else? You want?
Just to Brianna's
Yeah.
point, as far as the costs, just so you know that, no, we don't transfer cash in budgets, but when you look at that cost per student on all the data that we've been looking at for the last 2 nights,
Yeah, I
that, that cost of their time and stuff is in there, because in the summer, I have to tally all that up and get a
Advance
bit
it.
Then
best
there you go.
estimate.
All right.
and
This is how the
send
state
it over to them.
compares down to town.
All right, good.
Thank you.
Y'all ready to go home?
Thank you so much for
Are
all
you?
the hard work that you guys do.
Thank you.
We got hours yet.
Yeah,
Look,
no, we're,
good luck.
we're just
Thank you
getting
guys.
started.
Appreciate
Just
it.
See you on
getting
Greenway.
started.
Yeah, see you on the green one. It's my favorite.
Or on one of the walking trails, he's
Or
walking on,
El
with no
Capo.
jacket, making
Or
sure
El
things
Capo.
are
Hey, hey.
I know a guy there,
That
El
sounds
Capo.
wonderful. Oh, thank you.
All right, have a good night.
Gentlemen.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Good job.
All right, we're gonna start knocking off some departments. Let's go, starting at the top of the list. You wait, have we gone through revenues? You wanna do that?
Yeah, we gotta make sure we leave a little time for we're supposed to send the DOE letter. We gotta make sure we have some time.
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
You wanna do that now?
No. Let's keep
Okay,
it over
I
on
just,
roll.
yeah, that's what I just wanted to start to knock things off. Huh?
He said, you wanna do it now? And you go, oh, no, no.
No, I think we're on a roll on this kind of thing,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
We work as a team. If someone
Yeah.
says
It's
no,
so
we
good.
don't, we
It's
go.
so good.
Come on, this is how we go. We're a little bit laid back over here.
Brian, I was gonna tell Laura, if it makes you feel any better, we all have to prepare for the meetings with Brian as well. We have to be ready to go.
All right, let's walk through, let's start at the very top. As we go through them, Marcia, right now, since this is like the start of the sweep, well, we used to mark it green or something, and then we were
Yep.
done with it. So let's go through this, please.
So the tax revenue is just a calculation based on the bottom line. I&E penalties a few years ago, that's broke, it's not as part of the grand list, but there's no way for us to break out the cash when it comes in. So they both have the same account number, but we don't want to miss that $100,000 of revenue in our budget. All of these tax revenues are based on,
I'm sorry, so that one doesn't have any history, so are we comfortable with getting 103,000 this year?
it doesn't have history because it's
It's okay.
included up
I got it,
above
I got it.
in the
My point
current
is,
year.
I don't know if 106 is a good number or not. If the
It
100
is, there's history in your book
Okay.
that shows what it's been for the last few years.
I believe you, good.
All right.
I&E, what is it?
I&E, interest, income and expense penalties, the bigger businesses, bigger rental properties and businesses have to show this report. If they don't file it on time, there's a 25% penalty, and we took out the outliers, and that's how we got to the 106. All the other tax collections are based on the percent that we've been 5-year averages, and it's either based off of the outstanding accounts receivable, and some of them are below the 5-year averages because she's not gonna do the timing of the tax sale, it won't hit this fiscal year, and that's why it's a little bit lower. Building permit fees, we talked quickly about that. We used to say, well, here's the amounts that are regular, under 25,000, and then we would pull out the big ones. And we're still doing that, but there's less big ones because, as Steve had said, that they're not building all at one time anymore. They're putting up one building, so that whereas we thought it might be 75,000, now it's 3 less than 25,000.
So the dip has come like for the last 3-4 years, every year we're not building as much, I guess. Or the permits are not,
We're not seeing the big ones as
the
much.
big ones as much.
We used to try different things to guess on which big fees were coming in, and we were never right. So what we did was it averaged 140 per year of big ones, and we put 100 in the budget.
So can we attract, Steve, do we have room to attract businesses and have more of these, you know?
I'm sorry, I don't
The
understand the
permits,
question.
the permits,
Building
the
permits.
building permits, you
Our
know.
building permits, we changed the prices on those about 3 years ago. Actually, we changed the ordinance that allows us to change them when we want to, rather than have to go through create a new ordinance. We are at we were way low. We're at the just below the midpoint of our surrounding towns. These are not drivers for development.
No.
They're not big enough to stop a developer from coming in. They're just not. You know, they're a very small percentage of the overall project costs. You know, the land and the location are more important to them. So I don't think it's stopping development. I mean, you can see, we have a hell of a lot of development, so it's not stopping. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm just looking at it and saying there's almost $250,000, you know, from 2023 to 20.
Yeah.
That's when all the apartments and all that was going in.
That's when they were going in,
Or
right,
hot
right.
then.
Yeah, we
But
had
the
that
thing is,
big
that
boom
line,
down.
Kind of a one-off.
if you really look at that line is gonna continually to decrease.
Yes,
We
which is
we
why-
have a finite amount of building
Yeah, we
lots
just
left
don't
in
have that much
Brookfield.
left.
We have a finite of commercial lots left. In fact, we're almost at a point, we could probably define them and almost estimate, either a house can go on there or a apartments. We could probably figure out the maximum capacity within a few percent of where we're gonna go. But that number
Yeah.
Unless they're doing a headquarters by Toyota or something.
Berkshire Corporate Park, then you might get a
Iroquois
big.
gas, Iroquois gas or
Right.
whatever, building
Iroquois
permit.
will generate one-time really
Building
big
permit,
fees.
so it's a he'd have to do a
Building
permit,
permit,
right?
yeah, building
So
permit,
those
yeah.
are what you're gonna get now in the heat, I think, instead of like
Like
as
one-off.
much that we had in that year.
So then we need to kind of be prepared for a revenue loss here.
Yeah, I had that in one of
Another
my
couple of
projections,
hundred.
that's
Yeah.
one of the revenue pressures,
Yeah,
that building
yeah,
permit
yeah.
to look at. Yep, you're absolutely right.
Fire marshal fee, all of these department revenues, we go through with the departments, make sure they're comfortable that, I had 55,000 and Mike Connors said, move it to 60, that, they're gonna get it. That, they're doing a lot of inspections, a lot of, work, so he believes that's a good number. Planning and zoning and the wetland fees, that's, just the averages and the effect of some of that is the moratorium that we see this year, so that's why that went down. Health permits, that's been going up every year as they're busier and busier, so that's.
Background
like-
on that in the heat is when we first had the gentleman come in, we were only inspecting like 42% of the restaurants in an annual basis.
Okay.
So he's gone out to more, and I bet the percentage is up.
Restaurants, massage parlors,
Right.
any place that serves
So- But we
people.
were only getting to
that is not
40%.
Food or,
And
yeah.
now he's increased his getting out to the numbers.
And now,
So
Now we're at
those
about 90,
storefronts, I'm sure, are generating a little.
we're
more
about
like-
92%, and our goal is to
That's
be
great.
100%.
So that's why that revenue has changed.
That's good.
And so Marcia, just quick so we understand and go back, I'm sorry, but I think this is worth it well. Fire marshals is probably gonna stay pretty flatline, because that's just his annual fee, right, his annual check. So he has to go to every place every year and update, so that's gonna stay relatively flat. The planning and zoning probably changes, that's.
With the new software, better tracking, hopefully,
Yeah.
Right.
Get
you
some
know,
more.
hopefully
Right.
some more.
The 100,000 is obviously gonna peak out at some point when he catches up, but it's gonna be an annual, because he has to get
Yeah,
around
but I
all
think
those
it's gonna
places.
stay at least there.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So-
we still have all those vacant storefronts too that still need.
Right. But she was asking the question on the building, because
Yeah.
I just wanted to help the background
Yes,
of
yes.
No, I think
where the
that's
other
important,
ones
yes.
lie.
So overall, we're looking at probably a loss of 150,000 to 200,000 over the next 2-3 years.
Yeah, unless like we get Iroquois, one
Yeah,
time
well,
off
I
Iroquois.
think the Iroquois will come in.
Okay.
So we will hit that one offset, but it's something you
It'll be
gotta
a
watch.
one-off,
You
yeah.
have to pay close attention to, yes.
The question with Iroquois is timing, when they get their final permit, and I think DEPA's gonna issue that within the next 6 months. That's my opinion, it's only my opinion.
All right, governmental revenues, anything that's above 15,000 comes from the state in the governor's budget. And so that's susceptible to change. It doesn't usually change much. That it is the big change was last year, at the final budget, they gave us more. We had budgeted Town Aid Road at 309 and we've collected the 411. So it was after our budget was prepared that they made that change. But the rest are based on the governor's budget. The next round will have the appropriations committee budget and we'll make updates from that. And then the one after that will be the final budget, and that'll come in after our year ends, usually in August. Is when we get that. So this is our best guess now. We do know that they're working on, the politics are trying to get this education cost sharing number to increase. Who knows where that will go. And then the one down here that we don't have in the budget is this municipal revenue sharing. CCM has always advised us, don't put it in the budget. That you see 2 years here, that we did get it,
Yep.
that's 2 years out of 10. That, and then in August, they said we were getting 60,000 one of those years, and then we got a check for 400,000. And
Yeah,
so saying that
It's never happened.
in October, so
Yeah.
they,
It's a
can't
lot.
count on it.
no idea. So we don't put it in. And this year, I think we got $1,800.
They do good budgeting, don't you think?
Could you explain that bulletproof vest partnership thing? What is that?
So the police have bulletproof vests in their budget, and they can get a 50% reimbursement for that. That they don't do it on the fiscal year,
So
which would be really nice.
When it comes to things like this
So-
grants, so if it's a $10,000 cost and a $5,000 grant, we list a $5,000 grant and a $10,000
All
cost.
right.
We don't net them, saying
Okay.
the vessel costs $5,000.
As we're going through this lesson, John, just so you know, we try to stay on the high side of conservative, but still conservative on the revenue. We don't wanna get out there and push our revenue to the extreme. And then we have our policy where if we have extra revenues, we have our general fund policy where we take a percentage of that and put it back. So, and we also have a line in here, and I don't pay attention this year when she gets to it, the Dan Dvorsets rule, where we throw in 200,000 for revenue that's just gonna come. We don't know where it's gonna come from, but it's gonna come from
Dan's
somewhere.
bucket.
Again, this is small one, but the
Is it
vendor
too big?
permits, what's,
Ugh. So vendor permits where people come into my office
and they wanna
go,
sell some,
No, they wanna knock on door to door.
oh,
And we do not like that, our residents don't like that. We charge the single highest fee you're allowed to charge by law, right? And so that goes up and down, but we'd like this one to be 0.
What's that fee?
I'm sorry?
How much is it?
$200 per rep, per company.
what about the guy that sells ice cream and hot dogs at the things on
They
on
get permits
Friday
through the
nights?
health department,
So, all right, so that's not a vendor.
that's not
Not
a,
as
vendors
far
are
as-
just guys selling doors, windows, siding, right, going door to door.
Okay.
Do that with training wheels.
All right. Town clerk, up to this, police reports, everything is based on averages. And we compare those averages to the year-to-date that we had collected as of December, see if there looks like something weird's gonna happen. And we reviewed those with the town clerk, for any new laws or things like that. The recreation field use, we said that was offset by revenue, that's the revenue. Senior center revenue, that offset some of their programs that are in their budget, and it's, they do a nice job. And town clerk document charge, that's just an average of this. Alarm fees and blight fees. Alarm fees are average. Blight fees, we have about $600,000 out there that we're working diligently to try and collect them. One is mixed up with a,
Yeah, so we got an
600
update
grand.
yesterday. There's one property where we have tax liens and we have blight fines on the same property. The blight fines are about $200,000. The courts have stayed our suit 8 times. The owner quitclaimed the property to her son. In November, her son declared bankruptcy, simply to delay the process. I just want to give you a little history. We went to court and said, we need to separate the blight fines, because when you go to bankruptcy, you get to file a plan with the courts on how you're gonna pay all your fees. They put together a plan that did not include paying any blight fines. We went to court and said, hey, we want you to separate the taxes owed by the property owner and all his other expenses, which we don't care about, from the blight fines. The reason being, I've got a pretty smart lawyer, those are claims on the property. Blight fines are a police action. They have nothing to do, they're 2 separate things. Last week, the court allowed us to separate that. We can still close, we're now gonna continue to foreclose on the property with the blight fines, even while his bankruptcy keeps going.
And then when you foreclose on the property, is it like that one where you can, then the town
So what would
sells it, you
happen?
knock it down, you do
we-
whatever you want to do.
We get the property.
We would get the property, we would then put the property up for sale,
Got it.
right?
So we're not
And
gonna
we
get
would
those
be the
blight
first
fines
creditor.
anyways.
Got it, okay, understood.
The property is worth probably $450,000 to $600,000, somewhere in there. And they owe us about $60,000 in,
If we sell it, we get 60 and then the other one goes back to them, right?
I'm sorry, say again?
If you sell it for 460, we keep 60, we give 400 back to whoever we.
No, we get the
closed on.
200 for the blight fines, and we get our back taxes. We
Right,
get,
we only
the
get-
rest would go
yeah,
back
we
to
don't
the
make-
Get what's
owner.
due to
We
us,
don't
there's
make
no
the rest
problem,
of
we
it.
get what's
Yeah,
due.
we get what's
Yeah,
due.
exactly.
So we get what's the revenue. Okay, I got it.
You know,
Thank
there's a
you.
court case now going right through the Supreme Court, where Michigan, a town in Michigan, well, a county in Michigan, they do it by county there, foreclosed on a property that was worth $200,000 over a $100 tax bill. They then went through this process, they ended up selling the property after foreclosure for $120,000, right? And the market value, everybody agrees is about 200. And the property owner, the guy who owed the $100 tax bill, has gone, it's now before the Supreme Court, and he's saying, this is not right.
But we're okay on this.
We're okay.
All right.
Yeah, and
let's
we've
get
Just so you know,
going.
Thank
the
you.
Supreme
Right.
Court
Got
might come and
about
say,
5 or 6 of
Stevie,
them out
I
there.
got 5 or 6 of them,
All
okay,
right,
we
so
got
that
it.
revenue's good. Go ahead. You're good.
Investment income, we think we're still at 375, we think it's gonna go down to 325. We did this based on the cash flow, if you look at the graph of our cash flows, per month in the general fund,
Where is
5
that?
years worth, they never change.
Where's it?
I think the graph is,
I don't think the graph is in there, but I
When-
can,
No.
So when are we planning on issuing bonds?
the bonds, we're thinking in October, and that would be included in the cash flow.
That is a bit of a bump, right?
It is.
Is it, can you get me that, or us that, the cash flow? Get us an
That
idea?
part is in there.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
Is it substantial? How will I ever find it? It's
Um,
tab 57?
It is,
I'll find it, don't worry,
all right.
keep going, keep going.
all right, cell tower, that's, the revenue on the, cell tower that's been here for years, and it increases, I think, 3.25% or something partway through the year. Buildings, that's just, rent on buildings, we just multiply that out, oh, that's, I'm trying to think of what the other building is, that's not the conservation property.
mm,
no,
That's
again.
HRRA and Silver Mine. Miscellaneous, that's where the 200,000 is,
Only 200?
The fourth?
250.
50
That's the
is
Dan
50
Dvorsitz
Well,
law.
no, 50 we think is just normal stuff that will come in, and 200 is unallocated, that, it's just as bad to under budget revenues as it is to over budget revenues. That you don't want to under budget and say, oh, great, we're gonna make them all, and then overtax. So that's, how we solve that, is we put the 200,000 in there.
So we actually pulled in 300, almost 300,000 in fiscal 24-25.
Yes, and a lot of that was a one-time thing.
That was my next question.
Because we had never had the bonds that we were holding, the performance bonds,
The driveways,
we had never
buildings.
reconciled those, and so what we did when I started is we started saying, here's the in, here's the out, and so we could reconcile 6 years
Mhm.
worth of that to say ins and outs. And if things are older than that, we're taking the risk that no one's coming forward with that, so we reconcile
request
that,
their bond.
our records of cash to the Public Works records for driveway bonds and excavation bonds and land use records, so that, and we had more cash because we took some of the
Mhm.
bonds and we didn't return them because they didn't perform. And so that was a one-time reconciling item.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it was, I liked it. Transfers for the water fund, that's done. Opioid transfers, we're not transferring that in to cover that salary anymore.
Is that
Yeah.
cash flow? Yeah, only was 3,000, 3 million in November.
Okay. That, well, we're not gonna budget for all of them, but I'll check that.
Okay, just let me know.
Yep, because we do it based on cash flow.
But we're not gonna bond again after this year for another 2 years, right?
I'll check. That, use of fund balance, opioid grants, that is now going to Brookfield Cares and not offsetting, Ben's salary. Use of fund balance premiums and ARPA, that, is the final of the the debt bubble that we talked about.
We're out
That
of
went
money.
from one
Right.
point two to four. And, asset disposition, we just, for the first time, we've bumped that, up because we've been, doing great on selling assets and, govdeals.com if you wanna buy government assets.
So, I'm sorry, so I think I asked this before, I apologize. So with the 400,000 of the use of fund balance, not my question, it's a dumb question.
Sure?
Yeah, it's
Okay, all right.
It's
Um,
Is it impossible?
I don't think so.
To generate
We sell
45,000 of them.
vehicles in town and Board of Ed,
Yeah.
And I think we're.
vehicles that aren't being used anymore.
Like, we're getting a new Bobcat, we'll
Yeah.
sell the old one.
Through
Relax,
Gov.
Do
relax.
gov deals.
Wait,
And
all
we'll-
right, let's,
Is that an auction
We're not-
site or?
Yeah.
let's go back on track here, come on,
Okay.
circle back.
All right,
Circle back.
any more questions on the revenue?
What did it go up total? I can't see that number in the black, percentage wise,
3.72.
percentage
Well,
wise.
that's, it's a plug to whatever the expenses are.
Yeah.
3.72.
3.66.
Right.
With the balance.
Yeah,
Is the first line balance.
3.72.
If it doesn't, we got a problem.
right, okay.
All right,
So the only thing that I heard that was even potentially up for discussion is the rec field use fee of 18,000.
Leave it in now.
Which isn't really our decision
No.
necessarily,
No.
but we could make a recommendation that we think, we could afford to say you don't have to do that if they.
Right.
But to the tune of what you were always saying, maybe these are things that we write down and we say
Yeah,
for
that's
next
for the
year.
next- yeah.
Yeah.
and that has been handled with policies and procedures through the Recreation Commission
Okay.
versus the
And remember,
First
this has
Selectman's
nothing to do
office.
with our kids. This has, outside groups wanna rent this field that has the night lights, so we rent it to adult soccer leagues and things like that.
Okay.
So we
So
feel
outside
18
town should
grand is
definitely
what's gonna
be
come in.
Yes,
They do, I think
Yeah.
that's what you
yes,
said, and they
my,
do.
my thing
Yeah,
is
why
not.
is this the first year?
Because
just started
prior to that, Brookfield Soccer, it's a long story, Brookfield Soccer installed the lights there and paid for those lights to be installed. The town, for some reason, gave them full control of that field. And unbeknownst to us, they were renting the field out
Yeah, there was
to
Danbury
third
and-
parties.
Yeah.
So they paid, but
Oh
we
my
never
God.
got.
All
There's
people
some-
going up playing.
We stopped that, we
Somebody,
took over the lights, we took over renting the
Fair
field.
enough. All right, so then pretty much we're good on revenue.
So then, is there, so, Marcia, is there someplace in here where the, like, BDSA is paying for use of, for lining in fields and such?
That 18,000.
I thought that was for external,
As part of that 18,000, we charge all the different,
I thought that was
Feeds.
for outside towns.
Rent-
no, that's not this 18,000.
Not this, it's a different one.
It's
That's a
separate.
different
That's part-
18,000?
Where's the other 18,000?
I'm just saying, I just heard, I probably heard
Yeah.
wrong, that the 18,000 was for outside towns paying us.
No, that's what I
fees.
thought too.
So
No,
is that what it is or not?
No, I think,
The 18,000 is the soccer club paying per student and we, I
It
think
could
we
be
have
No, no, no,
listed
no, I
there.
don't think so.
so outside town is $20
Two
a
people are saying different
Where is
things.
it?
I think,
Yeah,
we'll
she-
have to
she
clarify
said-
this.
Laura
My
said-
understanding
wanna
that
see it in
is,
the budget.
remember we took the
I-
field rentals out,
Okay.
Marcia?
Um,
And Parks and Rec wanted to put it in their self-sustaining fund, and we said no?
Yep, that,
That's what I thought this was.
Can you just check on it?
Yeah.
We'll
work
check on it.
together all
So
next
just
week.
put a red mark next to
Yeah.
that 18,000.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
red mark in the whole,
Okay.
Yeah.
revenue, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Let's just highlight
They
it so
don't know where
when
it
we
comes
go
from.
through our.
the calculation of the 18,000 based on this year is in your book.
All right, we'll put a red mark there for now.
Just for now.
Yeah.
But so it sounds like everybody is okay with everything else.
I was good.
With the
Yeah.
revenue.
Because
But
it's
you
based
have
on
a-
averages.
Just the revenue.
Yeah, it was based on averages.
But
It
you
was-
had a investment income question, right?
Oh, yeah, we'll follow up on the
Okay,
So that should be
And I
red.
think, one thing that I was gonna say is that we know that we're going to lose some revenue some places, and that, just keeping a track of it, so that we know next year we'll be down 200,000, we'll be down whatever, so that's it.
The two that we need to talk about is the 18,000, we need to talk about the investment balance because
Correct.
of the bonding. So those are the
Yes.
only two in revenue.
Yes.
All right, move down to the next.
I'm sorry, you're assuming 3.25 in prior years, Dan was the expert to know if that was a good rate or not. Does anybody have experience that would have any other opinion?
I have
of
some.
3.25?
I'm talking to
With
Dan
what's
right
going
now,
on
so
in the
hold
world
on.
today and
Guys,
the
just that station.
conflict we're having in the Middle East, I do not see, in what I read, the
Lower
Fed
rates.
is not gonna lower rates right now. One, employment was down way a ton, but, unemployment claims pretty much stayed the same, 213,000. So my guess is, this is gonna stay pretty much where it is. Yeah, it'll go to
that's-
3.25.
I mean, that's
I don't
my
think they're
world.
going
Yeah,
any
that's your
further.
world too, would you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I largely agree with you. I just think if the stuff in the Middle East clears up sooner rather than later, then they will possibly look to lower rates later in the year. But it was never gonna be a lot anyway.
No, it was
So we're
not.
talking
It's gonna
about
be
maybe a quarter
a quarter,
percent this
25
year,
cents.
We're
yeah.
at 3.5 now?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're kinda counting on it still come down a little bit, so there's.
No, I think it's 3.5 now.
That's what
Yeah,
you
that's
what
said.
we said.
And this is 3.25.
We're-
Yeah, we're a
yeah,
little
we're
under
planning
right
at
now, so we have
3.25.
a
That was the
cushion.
projection, that was the projection before, everything's
Yeah.
happened in the last couple weeks.
Okay.
All right, I will follow up on those.
So yeah, Dan just reiterated what you said. He gave it the old, yes, they won't go down with this war we have, or a war. So he's saying the same thing. As long as it's a war, it ain't going down.
Yep.
And if it continues, and oil continues to be held up in the Strait of
Yeah,
Hormuz,
then,
that
So we
could
got
push
2
inflation, which will mean they keep the rates up.
yeah.
But that, I was gonna bring up, did we go through the deliberation of what we just saw today with the parks and the highway?
No, not
Okay, good, I'll shut up.
No, we sort of did, but we didn't.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because one thing that was in there was like reduction in the gas, and
Yeah.
we gotta have, I wouldn't suggest changing their budget, but we gotta hold some contingency because
Gas is
energy
going up.
prices.
But we're locked into gas.
I had one question about it too.
But we locked in at gas for all of next year. We
We're
have the
locked in
rate-
at gas for all of next year,
Next
and there's,
fiscal year?
next fiscal year, and there is
Yeah.
no,
I already asked this question,
there's no
right?
war contingency.
When you
in
say
the
gas, you're
contract.
talking diesel, gas, propane, whatever it is.
Diesel,
We're locked in.
diesel,
Yes.
and oil, gas, I don't know about propane. That's a
Yes.
different contract, isn't it?
It's a
Propane?
different contract, but it's
It's
all.
It's locked
It's still
in.
locked in.
it's all
I
in
asked this
one
question
page
today, so I was
that-
already a little
Yeah.
ready for that.
So that's okay if we're locked in, so
Good,
that's
that's
great. And you said there's no
No,
war
that's
clause.
not
That's not
okay
okay.
in the point of when we're talking about looking 2 to 3 year outlooks.
Right.
2 to 3
Because
years.
now this is where the pressure was, and we've talked about it with the Board of Ed, and they're not understanding is, they got a good price on this fuel. It's gonna have a pressure when, year 2, when they get the pressure of that teacher's
Yeah.
contract.
But for the budget we're looking in, it's
Right
locked
now,
in.
yes, we're locked. I
That's what
talked
I'm
to
saying.
Marcia already. That's
I'm
why we
not-
haven't asked about that,
Right.
because I was
Yeah.
gonna
So
bring
I
that
think,
up. I already,
one of the things we talked at the end of the
No,
cycle,
no.
and at the end of the deliberation is, what is the following year or the following year look like, and that's, yeah,
Yeah.
very important.
but I was one of my red flags, so Marcia got rid of that flag.
So, and by the way, after we kind of lock on what we think this year's gonna look like, I'm gonna put it back in the 10-year model, and then we'll look at, given this is the new base, what does the 10-year look like before we make any decisions
I
on
like
the
that.
year. That's to your point, Steve, that we need some room.
Mhm.
We'll look at that as a group using that model once,
Perfect.
but we have to get
Yes.
through all this before I'm gonna spend time. in it.
Agreed.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, but I just want you to know, I did ask that. So, all right, so revenues were good. Now what are we on?
Let's look at highway departments and say we're in tonight.
Where is it?
The highway
Where is that on?
department is, starts at 4.3.
I didn't have any
I have no
issues.
questions. I think the real question is, do they need another person, or what are we gonna
Yeah,
do?
that's the question.
And that's the end of the
We'll hold off on
discussions.
Yeah.
We do
that's-
all of these together, and then we can take.
That's a total end. I mean, after 17 years, I do gotta give them a little bit of,
Yeah.
the town has grown. We know this
Yes,
in
yes,
17
yes.
years, even some roads.
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
And the
Been able to
pressures
do
on
that.
them are growing. They have
Yes, absolutely.
Basically a dozen
the
people.
things they
And the amount
have
of
to do.
snowstorms, the amount of, weather,
This doesn't help. So, yeah, I'm less bullish on it for you guys, so let's table it. and we'll-
It's not gonna help, but the budget process, but it might be a need we might have to
Yeah,
address, that's
it's-
all.
we can,
Yeah.
we can do that.
All right.
Kind of, yeah,
Just
Just
ha-
put on the list.
Yeah, but that's
Or
not in
flag
this
that.
budget. That's, yeah, it's in my notes. That's, all right, we're
All right,
good there.
anything on facilities?
Another thing we
No.
didn't have any problems with, no.
No,
No.
Anything on recycling?
no, no. We're saving, and that's great, they came back with a saving for us, so that's
It's
great.
the same budget as this
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
Yes. Wow.
It's good.
It's a good thing I'm drinking tonight.
Anything on recreation? It does have the children's concerts in there right now.
Children's concerts are well worth
They're great.
$1,600.
They're
$6
great.
for kids being able to do
Be lucky to
something.
get somebody for 16.
Yeah.
So I completely agree, however, if they have money in that fund, and the
Real bad
fund
ones
needs to
in
spend a little money, it's a small number.
Yep, they have spent
On the
$106 on the
docks,
docks
which is great.
from that fund.
Yeah,
How much do they have in their
I
fund?
don't know, that's what I'm saying, we should just double check
Um,
that.
It was at Parks and,
Parks and Rec, yeah, they have a fund, separate fund. It's a
Yeah, I'd
single
like to
fund.
know that balance. I think that's a good
Just
question.
like the outside
in here.
I think-
police, this is something that we should.
Yeah, I'll tell you why, because when we're talking to the town about the budget, I have no desire to say, oh, and we're making $1,000 investment. It just takes more time than we're talking, unless you wanna say like, hey, we're doing something for the town.
I think you need to say that. I think for that $1,000,
$1,000?
I do,
Okay.
because I think the taxpayers like to see
We're doing
those
something.
little things that they're getting back for their dollars.
Okay.
I do believe that. It's, you know, they just wanna see,
I don't think people see
Programs.
the little nuances in
Okay,
it,
fine, well then it's even more important to keep.
but we
it.
still need to know though,
where it's coming
that
from.
balance of that fund, that
Yeah.
Do you
outside
remember the
fund.
balance?
I'm getting it right,
She's
right now.
right now.
It was 180. Could be wrong.
So do we take two of the other things and bang one of the other things out of that fund?
See, I don't
You have
know.
three on your
They-
capital.
They took the
Docks.
docks, which was a big, so that
Fair
fund might
enough,
be
fair
106.
enough.
Yeah.
How much is there?
They have 221.
That's a lot of money.
Minus
I'm sorry,
106.
301 at the end of the year, 301.
Minus
and
one
that's
oh six
after the
though?
dock?
Like
Minus
the police.
106.
Okay, so
Minus
what,
106.
so 301 minus
So,
106.
Steve, you're getting a homework assignment.
295.
If you don't mind a homework
Yeah,
assignment.
Yeah,
Go make a deal with her and see what would be a comfortable level to her in that fund, like we did with the police, like we talked about $100,000 range. Find out what's comfortable in that and what we can use for the town.
Some of the capital is smaller. right?
This is what I'm just saying, I mean, just find out, let's
Yeah.
try
yeah,
to
we
work
want
with
to
it.
get comfort level.
It's worked with the police, let's see if it'll work with Park and Rec. And then that gives,
300 grand?
No, it's
No, it's
195.
they already took the 106 on the
Oh,
docks
alright.
out.
it's still like, but if we give 50,000 to put into your capital, that'll give you guys on the capital
Mhm.
committee 50 more thousand when you're cliffhanging somebody
Yeah.
and saying, hey, we can maybe
Yeah.
do this. And I don't think it's taking from them, because
Well,
we
those
support
two on the
them.
bottom, I'm really not a big fan of, so if they pay for them out of the fund.
This is what I'm
then
saying.
Everybody wins.
That's what, you're getting exactly what I'm
You guys are
saying.
speaking
Let's
the
have the
same language.
conversation.
Speaking the
Yeah.
same
I
language.
agree with you.
And
I agree with you.
the tighter the operating budget, the better it is for us, right? So.
But I mean, these are monies we should be putting back in, because this is monies they're earning it, but they're not earning it, right? I mean, they're
Right,
not
right, yeah,
profit
yeah.
center.
This is typical, like the police, we don't want operating budget items coming out of that on a regular basis.
No,
For one-time items, docks,
Yeah.
other things,
exactly. Let's find out their comfort level, like, tell them like we have a comfort level with the police, and what can we utilize? And then we won't spend it without them knowing, obviously.
no,
I
we'll have
mean,
that conversation.
We would tell them, but this is what, if we can't afford this year, do you wanna buy it with that money that you have in your fund,
right?
right?
Yeah. And it's whatever those 7, 9, and
8,
10.
8, 9, 10, yes.
Yeah.
So there's
8, 9, and 10, 'cause they said they
24,000,
wanted
30,000.
If
Yeah.
there
I'll have
was
that
money to do
conversation.
something.
There's
Yeah.
money to their fund.
Yeah.
Eight's.
Two of those, 8
7,
and
9,
9 is like
Yeah.
54,000.
Yeah.
It's 100,000 for all three of us or whatever. So yeah, good, that's good. Those are the ones to test.
Right?
Yeah, perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. Because.
Is there any of these outside funds before I
Yeah.
lost
Yeah, I was
track?
gonna say, well,
It's like Santa just came down the chimney. I mean, we're getting up with that one, yeah?
does the Board of Ed have outside
We have a
funds?
few. And here they are. The Parks and Rec Fund, Small Cities Grant, we can't do anything with that. We're trying to get that transferred over to the Housing Authority. Conservation Property Fund, we had talked about buying some land, and part of their, let me just show it.
That's one Steve mentioned in the meeting yesterday.
Yeah.
Yep, part of their money is restricted, that it can only be used for open space, and so that would be a part that could be used, and he's talked to them.
I
Let's
discussed
not
that
talk
last
about
night.
it.
Yeah, hold on, let me rephrase the question. Is there any other departments that have funds that we can utilize for capital
Capital.
equipment that would fit in the same mold as police? And there's probably not.
Not really.
There's a small amount of money
Where?
from the NIPS grant that
Oh, yeah, we had
I
that.
always talk to Ralph every year, but it's to be used, there's certain things that it can be used for, and we
It's
haven't hit
pretty
those
limited,
yet.
so we
We're
can't say
buying
go
down
by
on that.
that.
That was bad move.
No,
No, it wasn't, it was good to ask.
Fine.
Let-
Can we-
let's-
Okay,
let- let's
Can we
look
just
the
step
Park and
back
Rec.
real quick on the small cities grant, right, the
Yeah.
community block development grant? Remember, we're trying to use that grant. Nobody in Brookfield can qualify because of income levels, and it's to repair your furnace, and you don't have a lot of income. We come in, we do it, put it, give you a low-cost loan, you can pay it off. So what we've decided to do, and they opened it up, is we've applied for a grant to redo a lot of Brooks Quarries. Redo the apartments. These are all low-income senior housing, and if we can do that, we can use that grant
Okay, then
to
that's
pay
fine.
for part of it.
Perfect.
It's a win-win.
Yeah,
But that
great.
money is
Agreed.
sitting there,
Yeah.
and
We
we can
maintain
only.
that property over there?
No, we do not,
Oh,
but they
okay.
allow us now, they would let us use this grant to do that.
I agree. All right, we're good.
Okay.
All
Keep
right.
going, Marcia, keep
Yeah,
moving.
let's
All
go
right.
through.
Yep.
Parks and Grounds, other than this one that I have to give you information, any questions or changes that you want on those?
No.
I
Oh,
had a-
wait, go ahead.
that's where I had a question with the overtime, and this might be, I guess, going backwards. They budgeted, why,
45.
why did they budget so low? in the
We cut them
25?
out. We cut them. We
Oh.
did that. That was our
If
self-inflicted.
they got a
Alright.
new employee, we thought the overtime would go down.
Gotcha.
It actually
We
didn't.
self-inflicted.
All right. Just because I was
That was us.
Good question.
from yesterday,
Good
no, from
question.
yesterday,
No, you're right.
questioning the
No.
Board of Ed with some of their, under
We lived it,
budgeting,
we
so
remember it, yeah.
No,
Good.
good
I'm just
question.
glad I didn't ask them that, so, yeah,
John's got it, he knows where to ask the
Yeah.
questions. Why is this going off the roof?
yeah.
I'm gonna be.
All right, Historic District Committee, anyone have a problem with their budget that's exactly the same as last year?
No.
Oh, they're way out of control. What are they spending?
Art Commission, anyone have a problem with their budget that's, and their shows are coming up at the end of the month, with their budget that's exactly the same as last year?
And we gave them the same 10,000 capital in a reserve. So
Yeah, yeah, so they could buy art.
Yep,
Good
we're good on
Yep.
that.
Youth
So
Commission,
there was $2,000 left over from, did we give them $5,000 in 24, 25?
we gave them,
Or just
gave
31,
them,
23, is that, or that's what
Yeah,
we spent?
I think we gave them 3,500 and they went up last year to 5,000.
Right.
And anything less that we get back from the budget goes into the general fund with the
Okay.
50-50 rule. So we bank 50% of that if they don't utilize it, and then what we'll do at the end of the year, and you'll be a part of it, is if we have a little bit extra, we try to put the capital, we try to squeeze some more capital in.
Okay.
So those nickels and dimes are not lost.
Mhm.
We try to keep them tight, but they're not lost,
Mhm.
and we have been building our general fund to a healthy point where we get better loans, we get better percentages, so.
Anyone have a problem with the Youth Commission? It's exactly the same as last year, 1,500?
No.
Yeah.
Not the budget.
All right. You want me to go back to the
You are.
top here?
Any too far away to
Um,
Hit me.
I will not.
Selectmen, the only change is that the departments upstairs have combined office supplies, so we don't each have our own budget. And then we cut 1,000 from the total. But you'll see they all went into my budget, so mine went up, but these went down. And we hope that's gonna be more
But the
efficient.
net sum was 1,000 less on the supplies, even though it's in yours,
If you add them up, I believe it's 1,000 that we,
took away?
Took off.
Okay.
well, because when you have 5 different ones, everyone needs a little extra, so they don't.
I just, when we get to you, we already know it's already cut $1,000.
We consolidate everything in the closet across here,
Yeah, I did see that.
it's much, much better. Much
Yeah.
So, can I ask a question that's gonna apply, the same kind of thing apply everywhere? So, across all of these, the non-union employees are in at a 2.5% increase. How does that get decided? First of all, I think that's what it's in, right?
Yeah.
How is that decided?
That was my
The-
decision.
We have that as,
It's your decision?
I made that decision.
Okay.
Based on last year's salary, what we think we're gonna anticipate where we're going.
Yeah, I meant, how does it, I know what, you decided the budget number,
So-
who decides the actual increase that you get? Is it purely in your?
I
so you
made a
get to give your
suggestion
own-
to myself,
Okay,
put in 2.5%.
right.
Had a discussion with the Board of Selectmen. They said, yeah, that's a reasonable place
It
to
doesn't get like
start.
approved in a selectmen meeting or something?
Sure, just the board of selectmen
Yeah,
does
Just
it
as
just
part
like
of the
we're doing
budget.
this. part
Yeah,
of
so
the
this is
budget.
effectively setting that increase.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well, except that, in the year that the contracts are renegotiated, that might change with the contract.
I just said
Non-union.
that's non-union.
This is non-union, correct, because someone like, Ralph, if his people get a 5% raise, that, or, I mean, some of them are
It's the
not.
same
gonna
thing,
pay.
So we put
he
2.5% in
Yeah.
as a starting
That's what's in
point.
here for this year.
As a
Again,
starting
next year
point.
might be a different number because Ralph,
Right.
are
We
you
have,
saying that
No,
if?
we can do
you might-
different departmental, he starts everybody at a flat line 2.5. In
Right.
different departments, he has increased in certain departments. He increased the mechanics or something, didn't he, or whatever, go ahead.
So,
in our
I
public
understand.
works,
Then it's-
we increased the 2 mechanics by more than everybody else.
Go ahead, you're
No,
gonna
but
say.
yeah,
Marshall.
let me see if I understand. So if a department has union and non-union employees, the union contract's renegotiated at, say, 4%, you'll give the non-union people 4% as well to
Correct.
keep them equal. So
That is
these-
what we, our,
So these 2.5
history has
are
been.
also potentially changing if the
oh, they will
union
change.
And when we
Non-union.
gave you that 100,000 per 1%
Yeah.
that we talked about, that included
Okay,
non-union.
okay.
Yeah. So, if we did not give all of our managers at least the same raise as our unions, you know the first thing they would do? Unionize.
We've had these
We've had this
discussions,
discussion.
and we've gotten to a point where we are gonna take the time to look at, as Marcia calls it, internal equity or whatever, and we gotta figure it out. We've gotten through so much, we've turned proactive on so many things. It's now time to look at the internals and see where we stand and make sure we make it all right and try to figure out the best way forward.
Yeah, for each of the departments, non-union, we're gonna look at it in more detail.
I mean, we're gonna keep you at 2.5 and we're good. I'm busting your chops.
1 3/4.
Board of Finance, sorry, we cut your budget, you have no.
Why'd you cut our budget?
Office supplies, you're sharing ours.
You don't need them.
And,
And once a
And-
month, we will let you go in here for 5 minutes.
I did take a cup from there.
Diane Sarasota did.
That's right, you did.
on-
That will be a
Oh, the
mix.
one I got all the email from.
Yeah, that she keeps the minutes, that's her.
Okay.
Finance, office supplies went up, we just talked about all that. And dues and fees went up, that we joined Prime. We did the analysis, at first we went Prime and we paid the delivery, but so many people are using it that there's $1,000 fee, and that's in the finance budget, that's why that went up.
All right, we're gonna end at your department, and then we're gonna talk Board of Ed.
So everybody's okay and all that?
Oh, no, I didn't say that, we're gonna end at this department, I didn't say we're done with it, I'm gonna end at this
And
department.
you would have questions?
Is everybody good with the finance, any questions on that?
All right.
We knocked out a lot tonight, so I'm okay, we're good. All right, we're gonna end there with this. When we ended last night, we said we were gonna send the Board of Ed a letter from ourselves. First of all, I had conversations with quite a few of you today on last night. And I think I have overhammered the point home of the inefficiencies.
No.
Yes, I will throttle back on that. And what was brought to my attention in a really well put way is we maybe should be turning to be proactive and show them the way we do the things that we do and guide them. Instead of pointing out the inefficiencies, let's try to, and Brian's been a proponent of this too, is let's try to help them get through the process. I don't know how to do that necessarily, but I think it's the right approach to take at this point. I was told that, you know, we can't change people, but we can maybe change culture a little bit. And,
Again, sometimes it's as simple as what they use the word status quo for and what I would interpret it as. The status quo to them is what they need to provide this service this year. It has nothing to do with last year's number as a status quo. We do it, here's last year's budget. Here's this year's budget, it's up 10%. Here's why.
Steve,
They
it's
go through
financial
their-
people versus education people doing finances.
Yeah.
We don't know how to teach. Well, some of us might, but I can say I don't know how to teach, but we know how to do numbers.
Some of it's
And we know-
misunderstanding.
We know what we wanna look at, how we wanna look at it. They don't necessarily know that. And in fairness, maybe, and I can't find it, but maybe all the numbers are there, they just don't line up in my ABC line.
Yeah.
It may be A, Z, F, and X that they have it in. And I think we've made our point, or I've pushed it even too far, but I do think we gotta figure this out. And I think, and I know it's gonna take a few minutes here, excuse me, is everyone in that room last night wanted to go in the same direction. We want what's best for the schools, we wanna fund the schools, we wanna help them. We have different views on how to finance that, or different views on how much money we can spend that the taxpayers will afford. Our mindsets in our business worlds are always, we don't look in the year, we always had to look out 2 or 3 years, every action has a reaction. So when they're looking at something, they're looking to live in the moment to survive, and we're looking at 4 years down the road, what does this effect have? And I think part of that is we need to produce our culture of finance maybe and help them along. I don't know how to do it, and I'm looking for you guys to help how to do that.
So I had a conversation today with Casey on this very subject. And I said, you know, I think we can avoid a lot of the confusion if we, starting like in August, sit down with the Board of Finance Committee and say, this is how we do it. How do you do it? How do we get a budget from you that makes sense to everyone at this table? And that would eliminate a lot of the confusion, just like we do here. All right, what was last year? Here's this year. Here's the new. They do it differently than we, and we don't have as full an understanding as, say, a Casey, where she sees the underlying stuff, but we don't see it. And we don't see how it gets there. Does that make sense? And I
Yes.
think if we sat down together, not right in the middle of the budget season, but like in August, and sit down and say, here's what I don't understand. Is there some way you can create a budget? Now, they use Munis, so we can pull this data. Now, they use function, where we use org and object, but they also use function, but that's okay. You can still pull this stuff in a way that makes sense to us finance guys. I'm a finance guy, right?
Finance, audibility, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Again,
As you said, we're not educators, right?
At our level, though, we should be able to pick up a budget and be able to follow it fairly simple. We've all done it in our business careers, and that will alleviate a lot of it. If we can see the trail. So go ahead, Marcia, you're raising your hand.
So Steve and I were working on this today to figure out what it was. Now, they have a lot of detail, and we have drafts of their budget workbooks, and they don't tie out. She gave me all those warnings that she didn't have a chance to get it to tie, not a slight that they don't tie out, that she said that they haven't had a chance. I said, we just want something. So I took her budget workbook for one thing, and when I started thinking about this all the way home last night, and I was so excited about it, I almost went into my home office and worked on it last night, but
John, that is true. She does.
No, I believe it. That's-
so they have a different, they're different. And as Steve was saying, that we've got, here's a department, here's all the things that they're buying. We see 4 pages of their data, but there's 40 pages if they were to print the whole thing out, because every single line is also divided by, so if you have high school supplies, first of all, we only see supplies in total, and there's 10 categories behind it: high school, middle school, special ed, business office. There's 10 of them, I forgot them all, but so there's 10 of them behind that. And then within each one of those, there's more behind that. So for example, the high school supplies says, and I think it's 18 categories, that this is for the art department, this is for the supply, and they need that data because they have to report that to the state. So as I thought of it, that it might not be the best thing to have the columns like we have, or we could have the columns somehow, but what might be most helpful for us to look at and for Casey to use to get all these subcategories that she needs is to throw it into more of a pivot table. That we've got the details here, and again, this is all from Casey, that I just reorganized it a little bit, that so here's line by line. She has it line by line. It's not like what we're used to seeing, because the lines don't line up across. So so this shows them all on the same line. This is the annual audit. Here's the calculation of how she got to it. There's just one audit, and it's 26.5. We give her that number. And last year it was 25. The increase is 1,500. The year before, budget was 25. The increase from last year is 2,500. And just so then we could look all the way across on one line and see what changed. And that's kind of what we're used to seeing, and it's actually better than what we're used to seeing, because we don't have the actual in ours. That it's not as pretty, because we want it in a pivot table, but then here's the pivot which looks just like the report that we have. But so if she were to say, okay, that she got the report from the high school, and the high school put $64,000 curtains in theirs, and she cut it from hers. She could take the line that says curtains, cut it, and then put it down under this yellow line that's underneath the pivot table and say, no, you're not putting curtains, they're supplies, which is what she took it out. So if there was something like that, and I volunteer to help, that here it is of what we're used to seeing, that we've got the actual for 2 years, the budget for 2 years, and the variance for each one of the lines. I don't know if this ties out to the final budget, because I have to add the 10 together. And we can do another pivot table that has 10 different sources. But it does tie out to Munis in those years. And then she needs a pivot by department. Well, this department, the business office, has got this one of 10 categories has only got one. It's called a location. Has only got one department, the TSO. But she can use this, because you go to that high school and it's got all 18 different departments. And then she needs it for her budget feed, and again, it's really boring because it's got just the one row, but it would give her the information she needs for that. And then what we would look at are these details, and if we look at it, that this one went from 90,000 to 60,000 for copier usage for color copies and stuff. There's our question. Why did it go down $30,000? That maybe the budget's too low. That and maybe I think what it is they aren't allowed to do color copies anymore. But I'm not.
They got put on hold on those.
Yeah. That but the ones in red, questions on each one of those, and the others are $1,000 here and there. But if we could say, maybe something like this, instead of looking like ours, this also helps her with hers. That
This is what they
and puts it in a way,
This is absolutely what we talked about. This is perfect.
and this puts it in a way
It
that
gives
we all
them-
can look at it and say, oh, okay,
Yeah.
this makes sense.
It gives us visibility and transparency that we're looking to feel comfortable
Right.
that, we're spending the money and it's all.
Maybe they're only
And for them too, it's much clearer, it's much, yes.
All right, thanks, Marcia. I think now let's go to the letter, Brian, that you
and
wanted to.
just to be clear, I haven't had a chance. Casey wasn't here this afternoon.
Yes,
I
yes.
haven't had a chance to
Yes.
talk to her about that.
Well, we're just looked at the format now, we're not
This is just
criticizing it, we
us
just saw this, right? So
spitballing.
we're
Yeah,
not
we're
even
just-
asking for the numbers to tie or
Right.
anything. This is the start of a process. I think that's what Naheed was asking for.
What
that-
it's all
How
about.
do
We work
See it.
together on a process that we both understand and we both, collaborate as
Yeah.
a town.
But yeah,
and
but they
get
just
better
have
results out of it.
they just have different needs, So our process, it will not fit theirs exactly.
Oh, yes.
But Marcia and I
But
sat
what you
together for
threw
about
up
an
is
hour
better than
today.
what we've
Yes,
seen.
yes, absolutely.
And my first question really was, how can we make this look like our budget so it makes it easier? And Marcia explained to me, they do it differently.
And there's a reason for that.
But Marcia showed me, there is a way that we can get that detail, it's there,
It's-
to
Yeah.
get the comfort levels.
And I didn't pull, other than the totals to reconcile, I didn't, all this came from Casey's schedule.
Can we get that in Excel? And like Brian does pivot tables and stuff like that, can we, and I don't know if you do or whatever, can we get that in Excel at some point from them?
Oh, yeah.
This
No,
is-
I mean, can we get a copy like before budget season so we can maybe
So I
do
did,
analysis
so
We'd
on
there
have
our
was
to
a
side?
update it, right?
misunderstanding with Caroline. I asked for it every year, because they do have it in Excel. And I heard that, they, on the February 26th, they must have given it to the Board of Ed, because I heard at their meeting, thank you for giving us that. I do have it in Excel. I had been given all these warnings that, don't, be careful because it doesn't tie out, or she hasn't had, and I just kept bothering, I need it, I want it, I want it. And so she gave it to me before it was finalized. Caroline
Okay.
thought that I forwarded that to you guys, and I
Remember
had
you
never
said you didn't get
forwarded.
it? There was a miscommunication.
Um,
We weren't asked to forward it, so we didn't do it.
I
We thought it was
forwarded it
going
to
right, you're right. And
Bob
I think
Belden and Brian.
This is
told me.
part of the conversation that he had with me, is we gotta get past that and figure out a way.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I accept that totally.
Yeah, I think this might be a good start, and just have those conversations.
Brian also agrees with this, right? Let's get it right.
I, still,
You abstain?
yes,
Okay, you can abstain.
it's 9 o'clock in the middle of budget season, we're trying to figure out next year.
No, no,
Not a
no.
good use of the time
All
right
right,
now.
let's get to your letter. Let's get to your letter.
So the letter has two components to it. I'm gonna let you, do you wanna read it, or do you want me to kinda explain it quick while you read it?
Explain it
yes,
quick.
yes.
Or you wanna?
So I
yeah.
think we, so,
For the public or?
No, this is
well, it'll
gonna
be out there, cause when we
Yeah.
send it to them, it'll be public.
Oh,
Right,
understood,
yeah.
yep.
Assuming we wanna send it. So, thanks for coming to the meeting. Obviously, we support what they're trying to do to improve the quality and affordability of special education, right? And so, we were interested in the proposal discussed, but require more information, and we gave them two to-dos, but there's really three, right? So the first one, which is, we didn't exactly ask for, but, we really wanna understand the investment and the offset, which is the savings, they call it offset, right? In greater detail, right? You know, what specifically are they spending on, what's the timing, how's it gonna work in future? And how do those investments actually cause those offsets to occur? Because that's not necessarily obvious to me. Now, today, well, let me finish, right? And we want a multi-year view, because this is not just a one-year investment, this is a program that will have a multi-year, and as Glenn showed, there's a lot of pressure in the system, given the salary increases in the out years, so what are we signing up for if we do it in 1 year, right?
Right.
And I said, thanks for sending more detail earlier today, we'll look at it, I haven't looked at it, but I think they sent a lot of detail, but
They
we
did.
really gotta understand this holistically. Cause clearly, for me at least, I can't tell how some of the investments are making results in being able to have students come back into our, so we need to understand. The second is, their view, if you remember, was, don't give me the 250,000 selectmen cut, and I will still get those savings somehow and reapply those savings to this program, right? So, so the second bullet was, we wanna understand the areas of the budget and the amounts that they're gonna cut or reassign that's gonna enable them to fund this initiative. So that's one of the to-dos we gave in the meeting. And then the third thing is the management system for the initiative, right? So how are they gonna review progress themselves and with us? And as we talked about, what's the contingency plan if the initiative doesn't deliver those results, right? So how are you gonna meet your budget if you don't get the savings, basically? Right, that's the other to-do that we gave them. But I broadened it a little bit to say, how are we gonna watch and track this thing? How's there gonna be accountability fundamentally as a thing, okay? So, those are the three things I think we need before we can make a decision, or I think we discussed, so hopefully you guys agree. And then here's the important part, right? We believe it's an important initiative, but it has significant financial risk. And so what we talked about is our preliminary plan is to maintain the BOE budget as submitted by the Board of Selectmen, I should say.
Yeah, because we cut the 3 to
Right.
50.
Right, so with the reduction for the new healthcare estimate, we would hold the money for the initiative in our town contingency, and when we get these questions answered satisfactorily and we're in support, then we can transfer that funding back to them. So let's just stop with the letter at that point, because that's the end of the initiative part. So hopefully that portrays what we talked about yesterday with a little bit of addition. So,
The only concern we might have is we cannot tell the Board of Ed how to spend the money we give them. But we can ask them, how are you gonna spend this money?
Which is what this letter
It's their
says.
job to prioritize
Sure.
it. But when we say we're gonna hold the money and give it to you, it's almost like we're telling them, we have to be careful how we word it. I understand your import,
okay. Well, so what we're saying is we're not giving you the money, so we're not telling you how to spend it because you don't have it, but if you want more, come for an investment.
That's
So
a
you,
fair
if
way
you
to
think
look
there's a
at
better
it.
way to word it,
Yeah,
I am not.
That's fine.
Not
Right,
afraid
we're
of
not,
that.
we're not
so
we're just saying
they don't
we
think that
need
we're
more
telling them how
info.
to spend.
You need to answer
We
those
already have our
questions.
backup right here in this meeting, it's on video.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we
so
already
and-
said we're
and-
not telling
right.
how to spend it.
Right.
This is a check
Yeah.
and balance,
It's
that's all.
100%.
Right, okay, so we're good on that, anybody
Yes.
else? Okay, then the second one we talked about as well, and we talked about sending my notes, so that's in here again. So the police have requested from us an additional SSO. Our understanding is the BOE supports the investment. The investment would benefit the school, but the person would be managed by the police department. So from a budget perspective, we would expect the BOE to prioritize this in your budget, and then we would transfer the budget from the BOE budget to the police budget. Please let us know if you want to make this investment and do this transfer, and we will execute to your decision. So you tell us what you want to do.
I think it's okay.
Anybody have a
Right.
comment on that?
Good?
I think it's just a 5-second comment. I think that the second topic about the ASSO is completely and totally warranted. I did a 5-second thing that I told you about, and I found out that I looked it up in the Office of Legislators, and I found that several school systems pay for their own SROs. In fact, the town of Newington, which is where I believe our new superintendent came from, covers their entire SRO in their school budget. So for him, this would not be anything new that's being asked of.
Now,
So,
the difference is little, that's good, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
What I'm not kind of in favor of, and we're not doing it here, is saying, you guys, you know, we'll do spending transfers. We don't want the
No.
police department to bill, we
No,
don't wanna
no.
bill ourselves
No.
within the town, that just
Nope.
is
No,
It
business.
we
says
don't wanna
it-
make it messy.
Yeah.
It says on the sheet that I printed out, there's several different towns all over Connecticut, they do it several different
Good.
ways. 60, 40, 100, some towns, some places, they do it a million different ways. But it definitely shows that several school districts are actually paying.
Okay, so this is
Now,
not-
I granted this is an ASSO versus an SRO, but still, it is the same thing,
It's
it's
even
no
more,
different.
SSO
Yeah.
that has no benefit to the town, and
Correct.
SRO
And
would.
when I did have a separate conversation with the chief about the SROs, he really honestly did say he only gets 1/12 or 4 weeks of help from the SRO.
Vacation.
So it's really 100% school
Yeah.
position. So I think that this letter is perfectly written and documented, and
So
we
fire
have
it away.
supporting
All right.
backup for it.
Fire it away. All right, on that note, it's 9:10, I'd like to make a motion, we adjourn, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Always.
Aye.
Thank you,
We're
everybody.
gonna
Thank
stay a
you.
minute, I wanna just go over something quick.